when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy and breezy with a couple of snow showers for the afternoon, high 40. Tonight, partly cloudy and colder, low 19. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 33. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
32 at O'Hare, 34 along the lake. Next news, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And despite no budget deal, Governor Bruce Rauner made his case today in his second State of the State address. Changes, he says, that will make the state more competitive.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says he believes he will win if voter turnout is high. CNN's latest poll of polls out today shows Senator Sanders and Hillary Clinton locked in a virtual dead heat.
After 5 minutes of bashing Donald Trump for being there, what do you think the rest of the candidates are going to do? Are they going to continue to go after Donald Trump? Or are they going to start piling on Ted Cruz? And who benefits more from that? Donald Trump. This could end up being a very shrewd move by the front.
All right. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Trump was on Bill O'Reilly's show last night.
Yeah, I watched some of it. It's just hard for me to process a Bill O'Reilly interview because he's so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
And then you have Donald Trump, who's a little narcissistic, just a tad bit. So it's.
I understand Bill O'Reilly is somewhat popular. I understand that Donald Trump is somewhat popular. I really don't understand why Bill O'Reilly is somewhat popular. The two of them...
Well, they're both barkers.
The two of them spent 20 minutes, and I came away so much dumber for having listened to it. When they started talking about Christianity, I was wistful for Dante to be still around so that he could explain to me which circle of hell I was sitting in on my couch. I mean, honestly, it was so silly. They've known each other for a long time, apparently. They spent a lot of time talking about how many vanilla milkshakes Bill O'Reilly has bought Donald Trump. And intermittently, Bill O'Reilly arguing, consulting, pleading with Donald Trump to participate in tomorrow night's debate.
Yeah, he was trying to broker a deal. Like, what can we do to get you to come on the debate?
Well, he was also suggesting that he spent a lot of time suggesting it was a bad move. It was going to hurt him. People want to know who you are, like this is some unknown quantity. Trump hasn't answered probably 99% of the questions that he will be posed to him tomorrow. Going back and forth with the candidates like he would otherwise tomorrow. But anyway, he announced that he's got his own event, so it doesn't look like he's going to change his mind. He's got an event at Drake University where he said he's going to raise money for wounded warriors.
And he's going to stream it somehow online. He was trying to, purportedly, he was trying to get CNN or some other cable outlet to broadcast his event. And he's still, I've been told, working on something, but if not, they're going to stream it online. But he chose Drake University. They said yes yesterday to allowing him to have Drake Relay's taken on a whole new meaning, to allow him to have his event tonight to raise money and to raise funds. But his campaign manager yesterday said, think of all those companies who are going to be advertising who now aren't going to get the biggest bang for their bucks tonight because he's not there. Yeah. I mean, do you think viewership's going to fall off tonight, Dan?
Yeah, I suspect it will. I don't know by how much. I don't know how by much it matters. Here's what I think could happen.
Yeah.
I think Trump, his event at Drake University, he has the event. He raises money for wounded warriors. he rounds up a posse and he goes and takes over the Fox debate Ammo Bundy style.
And carrying a tarp over his head?
That could happen.
I'm sorry, too soon.
By the way, speaking of wounded warriors, he always says wounded warriors like with capital letters. I wonder if he's talking about the Wounded Warrior Project. This is worth noting. This is a story in New York Times that's a long time in coming. Wounded Warrior Project spends lavishly on itself. This is something I've known about for a while. It's nice to see this coming out in print.
Yeah, CBS did a whole long spiel. Major Garrett did a story on it yesterday.
Just because a charity has a specific mission that is laudable and has a good-sounding name and has a Mark Wahlberg doing national commercials for them doesn't mean they're serving their mission field like they should be. And it turns out, just for example, I mean, this is a nonprofit that is flush with cash to the tune of some, north of $372 million they took in 2015. 40% of that spent on overhead.
Yeah, well, they have these lavish conferences, and they spare no expenses. I have a really dear friend who works for Wounded Warrior Project. He makes a lot of money. And I always say, well, what do you do? Don't you feel bad, like drinking the Dom Perignon and having caviar? And it sounds like that other government agencies that have really elaborate conferences. Yeah. And in recent years, it's gotten, worse. More people come and they put them up at 5-star hotels, but I don't know if that's a way of recruiting to get more money for your organization or if that's just being selfish.
The issue is this. This is why, and with the charities I choose to be involved in, you look at Charity Navigator, you find out about what they do, you find out about what their overhead is. That's critical to make sure. Of course, there's overhead. You're running an organization, so there's legitimate overhead. But when you get to kind of the $1 for me, $1 for those that we're serving, I think that's something that donors need to be smart about. Nobody's forcing anyone to give money to Wounded Warrior Project, but you should do a little bit of due diligence to make sure your money is substantially getting where you want it to go, which is to veterans, particularly against the backdrop of all the problems we've had in terms of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans coming back and reacclimating, the incidence of suicide, the high unemployment, not to mention veterans from World War II to present and the VA scandal. With Wounded Warrior Project, with the kind of money they have, they could certainly be doing a lot more. That overhead is obscene. And I'll tell you what, and I'll just do a plug for an organization I'm affiliated with in this state. I'm a board member of. No compensation, just a board member, Disabled Patriot Fund, which is local, Orland Park founded and based. North of 90% of funds raised go to serve military families, and specifically in Illinois.
Same with Pizzas for Patriots and Deb Rickards' organization as well.
Right. Yeah. And so there's lots of good charities out there, and there's lots of charities in any space that you want to participate. Look at Charity Navigator, do a little bit of due diligence, make sure your money's is going as far as it should be going, your philanthropic dollar. So that's just an aside.
All right, so Donald Trump says he's raising money for veterans and for the Wounded Warrior Project. But was he going to charge people on the way in?
Well,
at Drake or how?
Well, whatever. He's raising money for veterans. You take him at his word. That's a good thing. He and O'Reilly went back and forth about who's raised more money for veterans too, which was just a bit indulgent. But
do we have the milkshake?
Yeah. So here's Trump. This gives you a flavor.
Milkshake.
This was 20 minutes between the two of them, and this gives you a flavor of the quality of the conversation that was to be had.
Putin's going to come at you. The mullahs are going to come at you. Certainly the terrorists are going to come at you. And it's going to be personal. They're going to do everything they can to diminish you. And you hope to, as a president, you have to rise above that, all right, and do what's best for the country. And this exposition that we're talking about today, people are going to say, Trump, he's just too self-absorbed to be president. He needs to look the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is get your message to the folks.
There's got to be something, because you set the all-time record in cable history, and so did CNN, and so there's got to be something going on, Bill.
They want to know you, but by walking away from this debate, you're not giving them the opportunity to know them as well as they would like.
I'm not walking away. Bill,
You're
I'm
walking
not walking away.
Would
Okay.
you do me a favor?
Bill,
Look,
Bill, I'm
you
not.
owe me because I bought you so
What happened-
many
Hey, Bill,
vanilla
Fox put
milkshakes.
out-
I bought you so many vanilla milkshakes. You owe me. Will
That's
you
true.
just
That's
consider? I want you to consider. All right, think about it. Say, look, I might come back. Forgive, go forward, answer the questions, look out for the folks. Just want you to consider it. You owe me milkshakes. I'll take them off the ledger if you consider it.
It was nice for Kellis. Was it Kellis? Is that her
Yeah.
name? The singer? Yeah. Khalees. Kellis. Khalees. I don't know.
Potato. Who cares?
Exactly. You say Khalees. I say Kellis.
It's nice of her to stop by.
Yeah.
When it's her sugared milkshakes, she came by singing.
Well, her milkshake brings all the boys to the ground and playground.
Yeah, to the yard.
Our milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Downright, it's better than you.
Yeah, and then
I could treat you, but I'd have to charge or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty good.
naughty. Yes.
You're surprisingly.
Don Lemon taught me that song.
That's even more disturbing than what we just heard with the.
So, did you learn anything from Bill O'Reilly's interview with Donald Trump? Because I didn't. It was just a bunch of noise and interrupting each other. And if you and I ever sound like that, we need to pull the plug.
I learned, that Bill O'Reilly wants Donald Trump to participate in the debate, and Donald Trump is not going to participate in the debate. But then I knew that before listening to 20 minutes of their back and forth.
This third-rate radio announcer.
Catch the Republican debate tonight at 8. Then talk about it with Dan and Amy tomorrow morning from 5 to 9, only on AM 560. The Answer.
All right. Today, mostly cloudy and breezy, a couple of afternoon snow showers, a high of 39 degrees. Then tomorrow, Friday, we're going to have intervals of clouds and sunshine, pleasant, a high of 34. Let's get the travel chimes for this Thursday morning. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Right now, things look pretty good on the expressways and tollways. We do have a crash reported on the northwest side on Kedzie at Fullerton. Elk Grove Village, there's road work on Bussey in both directions at the Adams Tollway. Right lane closed each way on Bussey till 6. There are no problems to report on the Adams Tollway or the other tollways. Chicago expressways are still looking good. We have no significant delays to report just yet. No crashes. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Time is almost up to purchase your trip to Escape to Cabo with us, Dan and Amy. Now, the price secured just for us by Apple Vacations expires tomorrow. So after that, the price will go up and availability will be limited. We're heading to Los Cabos, Mexico, April 2nd through the 9th. And our trip is presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates. We'll be staying at the Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort. It's an adults-only, all-inclusive, all-suites resort that opened a few years ago. They serve unlimited milkshakes.
Yeah, and apparently your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah. They have 8 restaurants, 4 bars serving unlimited premium drinks, 2 beautiful pools, 3 miles of beaches. It's really a gorgeous resort, well appointed. And also, if you're a golfer, you're going to want to come along because there's 2 9-hole golf courses just outside the front door of the resort. Get more information and book your trip today by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. Plus, you can also enter for a chance to win a trip for 2 to Los Cabos. Do it today. Download the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Click on the Enter to Win banner, and good luck.
Tremendous.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free consultation so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Individual results may vary. Call 1-800-600-7926. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 10% off your all-laser LASIK procedure. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free consultation, call 1-800-600-7926. 1-800-600-7926.
And a major meteor collision could hit within the next 4 billion years. Lucky we have homeowners insurance.
What?
If a meteor hit our home, we'd be covered.
But homeowners insurance isn't helping us with our busted furnace.
No.
And it won't help get the plumbing fixed, or our refrigerator, or the oven, or anything else that happens to break down. That's why we need a home warranty.
Homeowners insurance can cover things that might happen, like a meteor destroying your home. But a home warranty from American Home Shield helps protect your budget against what will happen. Component breakdowns of up to 21 major home systems and appliances, like your heating, plumbing, refrigerator. For valuable free information, go to ahs.com or call 1-800-900-4317.
The odds of a meteor destroying your home are 180 trillion to 1.
To protect your budget against home appliance breakdowns, get an American Home Shield home warranty. For free information, go to ahs.com or call 1-800-900-4317. 1-800-900-4317.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, text from 708 about tonight's debate. Didn't see this, so it's interesting, and I know this is a Trump supporter, so he's on top of it. I presume Wells Fargo pulled their ad yesterday from the debate. Money Talks.
See?
Yeah, well, if it's not what they signed up for and the expected audience, then, yeah, there you go. Well, on the other side, and there's a lot of action on the other side, let's not forget, Hillary Clinton.
She wants a debate of her own, doesn't she?
Yeah, she wants more debates now all of a sudden. After wanting no debates and having Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a.k.a. Todd Christensen, do her dirty work for her, now she's, let's get another one going.
You know, I think it's because during that town hall, Bernie Sanders came out and said, I'm raising everybody's taxes. So she could capitalize off of that and use some momentum on that. And then
yeah, and then a lot more people from, kind of across the generations can say, everyone I know doesn't trust you. Why should they?
Exactly.
Like your
my friend Taylor.
Yeah, like that that mop-haired app developer Taylor.
And he wasn't a plant, by the way. He's a student at Northern Iowa, and he went there to the town hall.
Yeah.
So there, you conspiracy theory people.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see
Just
the
in
point.
Case.
And then there's this, Obama announcing a particular nomination. Oh, the head of the FBI. When he announced the nomination of Jim Comey to head up the FBI, he said this: "To know Jim Comey is also to know his fierce independence and his deep integrity. He's a rarity in Washington. He doesn't care about politics. He only cares about getting the job done. At key moments, when it mattered most, he joined Bob Mueller in standing up for what he believed was right. He was prepared to give up a job he loved rather than be part of something he felt was fundamentally wrong." That was a reference to Comey almost resigning from the Justice Department during the Ashcroft era, Bush administration. Justice Department had determined that W's domestic surveillance program was illegal. Then White House counsel Alberto Gonzalez and President Bush's chief of staff, Andy Card, went to the hospital where Ashcroft was recovering from a pancreatic ailment to persuade Ashcroft to reauthorize the program. Comey and then FBI Director Bob Mueller, who I just referenced, raced to the hospital to lobby Ashcroft against the authorization papers. Ultimately, Bush agreed, and the Justice Department, with the Justice Department's assessment, scrapped the program. Comey later told Congress that he, Ashcroft, Mueller, and the aides had prepared a mass resignation in the case the White House ignored or defied their legal assessment. That was back in the days when the Justice Department, including the Attorney General of the United States, was actually independent and willing to resign his office rather than do something they thought ran afoul of the law and the Constitution. That was Jim Comey as part of that group. So, oh boy, if you get to a place where he refers charges and Loretta Lynch and the president decide that Hillary will not be prosecuted, Jim Comey may not go quietly, or he may go quietly but with a big splash. So get prepared for that. And then there's this, along the lines of Comey, Hillary Clinton unadmitting her email error, illegality. Call it.
So she came clean and, well, kind of came clean. And now she's redacting that?
Yeah, she told Chris Cuomo on CNN, "I'm not willing to say it was an error in judgment. Nothing I did was wrong." In September, she said, "As I look back on it now, I should have used two accounts. That was a mistake. I'm sorry about that. I take responsibility." You see, it was a mistake, but not an error. most people think those are synonyms. But not Hillary Clinton. That's the Clintonian parsing of words. And if you think that's going to be compelling to Jim Comey based on what we know she did, I would suggest it's not. And here's something else. If Hillary survives, then she's got a glide path to the nomination, particularly if Donald Trump is the nominee. Camille Paglia, who wrote Sexual Personae. If you haven't read it, you should. Probably her best work. Feminist. Lesbian feminist, actually.
Isn't that synonymous?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, the horror of... Wow. You were going to have some angry cackle caucusites in Lakeview to answer to. Camille Paglia writes in Salon.com, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. Hillary has unfortunately adopted the Gloria Steinem brand of blame men first feminism. Gloria Steinem's famous formulation, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. She's adopted that blame men first feminism, which defines women as perpetual victims requiring government protections. Hillary's sometimes impatient or patronizing tone about men, which can perhaps be traced to key aspects of her personal history, which Paglia details, may prove costly to her campaign. Paglia concludes, perhaps it may be impossible for hard-driving career women schooled in the curt, abrasive northern style of feminism to give an inch and show that they actually like men as they are, but a top-tier politician like Hillary Clinton is narrowing her presidential chances when she privileges elite professional women at men's expense. Something to consider, addled cackle caucusites.
I thought you were going to say ladies of Lakeview.
Them too.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yes.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-577-6026. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU Online degrees, call 1-800-577-6026. That's 1-800-577-6026.
AM 560, The Answer.
Steve on 88 has a good idea. AM 560 should host a Hillary Clinton cackle contest to see who can replicate her fake awful laugh. I like that.
Right?
We'll take your calls all morning, replicate Hillary's cackle, and we'll record them, and then we'll impanel some judges, make a decision, and
I have a really...
I don't know.
We'll
come up with some prize.
I have a similar Hillary laugh.
Go ahead. No.
No, is it too deep?
No, that's not. No.
Oh, this is getting bad.
Wow.
Don't look at me, I'm hideous.
Your range. Okay, while we contemplate the cackle contest and our first entrant, Amy Jacobson, coming up at 5:35, Coach Joe Kennedy. He's the coach that was bounced from a high school football team for having voluntary prayer after the games. He speaks about trying to get his job back. We'll have it.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 30 degrees, days ahead of the Iowa caucuses. Donald Trump holding the lead among GOP presidential candidates. Today's NBC News Marist poll has Trump at 32%, just ahead of Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Donald Trump going toe-to-toe with Fox News tonight, holding a special event at Drake University in Des Moines, slated to start exactly at the same time as the Fox News GOP debate.
Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock at Drake University, we're going to have a tremendous event, and I'll have much more than 60 seconds, frankly, and we're going to raise a lot of money for the veterans. A lot of money is going to be raised. A lot of people are going to be there, and I can do some good.
With or without Trump, the Fox News debate airs right here on AM 560 tonight, following Joe Walsh at 8 p.m. The weeks-long occupation of an Oregon wildlife refuge may be nearing an end. 3 more protesters were arrested overnight as they approached a checkpoint manned by the FBI. 5 are under arrest in California, part of the investigation into 3 escaped inmates. Orange County Sheriff Sandra Hutchins says those arrested were linked to the escapees, but has yet to explain that connection. Hundreds of guns, badges, credentials, and cell phones are missing at the Department of Homeland Security. A new report from the website Complete Colorado reveals more than 160 firearms have been lost or stolen over the past 2.5 years. The man who runs the world's biggest money management firm this morning says cheap oil could be the death of hundreds of energy companies. BlackRock Chairman Lawrence Fink says as many as 400 firms could all go out of business before crude oil prices recover. Ceremonies are scheduled at NASA centers across the country, marking the 30th anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster.
Challenger, go at throttle up. Challenger, go at throttle up.
NASA administrators will lay a wreath at the Arlington National Cemetery site. Challenger was lost during the 25th flight of the Space Shuttle program. The fleet was grounded for 3 years while the explosion was investigated. A judge here in Chicago expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29 sentencing in his hush money case. A gas leak from a Barrington gas station that flowed into village sewers is much worse than it was first determined. And the Chicago Public Schools top educator wants its former CEO to reimburse the financially strapped school district to the tune of close to $10 million. Chicago sports, Butler, Northern Iowa, Wichita State, all with college basketball wins. Butler topped DePaul, and Wichita State, the Shockers, over Loyola. The news, a service of Jewel Osco. Get set to score 4 and save more at Jewel Osco. Mix, match, and save $4 instantly when you buy 4 selected products, including Oscar Mayer bacon, Kraft cheese, Gatorade, and more. And there's no limit on the ways you save. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This election season, only one station in Chicago has carried every single Republican presidential debate live. And that station is this one. Tonight, the Republican candidates will debate again, beginning at 8 p.m., right after the Joe Walsh Show.
Apparently, Megyn Kelly is really, really scared.
I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly.
It's ridiculous how
the only place to
how
hear the
attached
debate
you
in
get to these
Chicago
kids, and
is right here.
King Kong versus Godzilla. Not to be part of it. It's really rough.
The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas.
When I first started out, it was just myself. I first started just praying myself, giving thanks for what the players just did and the opportunity to be part of it. And before long, it started being more and more kids. Our kids started inviting the other teams. Even our most bitter rivals were out there with us, which was really amazing. I just lift up both helmets, ours and opposing teams, and I just say, I'd like to lift these guys up for what they just did.
And I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Foxford Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. Right now, I'm holding a book that could change your life. It will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and you worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at the age of 80, well, you need to read this free book. The reality is, you'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-900-0816. Are you skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-900-0816. That's 1-800-900-0816. 1-800-900-0816.
538 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Ike on the inbound Kennedy. Traffic is a little heavy approaching North Avenue. A crash just cleared out of the left lane in the locals, but things are quickly moving again nicely on the Kennedy. The Edens is fine, so is the Eisenhower. No delays to report yet on the Stevenson. The inbound Ryan has a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson into downtown Chicago. Bishop Ford, a 4-minute delay from 103rd to the Merge. Traffic service of Patient Innovation Center. Time is running out. The federal deadline to enroll for health insurance is this weekend. Patient Innovation Center is hosting free late-night enrollment events across the state to help you sign up and avoid a big fine. Visit PICcares.com to find a free event near you. That's PICcares.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. AirComfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, breezy. We'll have a couple of afternoon snow showers and a high of 39. Currently 30 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fox River Periodontics, Chicagoland specialist with dental implants. To get your smile back, visit implantsforme.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, what's going on in schools at the primary and secondary and post-secondary level in this country is a lot of cowardice and a lot of intolerance, particularly as it pertains to people of faith. One of the more celebrated cases in recent months is the case of Coach Joe Kennedy, who was banned from participating in Bremerton High School football games. This is in Washington State. He was first sidelined this past season for senior night, and this is all because he refused to comply with the school's orders to stop kneeling at the 50-yard line and praying after games voluntarily with players from both teams, per their desire to do so, and if they don't want to do so, fine. And as we find out, Joe Kennedy talked to the Daily Signal, dailysignal.com. We find out, and from both Coach Kennedy and a couple of the players that Daily Signal spoke to, it wasn't even much of a prayer. It was more like to the extent it was a kind of a prayer of thanks, but it was non-denominational, really. Here's a...
And then, I'm sorry for interrupting. At one point in time, they gave him a space outside of the football field to pray, and he said, no, I'm not going to, because they didn't want him to do it on school grounds. They're trying to, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and the cowardice. So we could get sued.
Yeah.
You could get sued for anything, thanks to
you looked at me the wrong way.
The litigiousness of our society and the cravenness of the trial bar. So at some point you have to do what you think is right, even if somebody is going to pursue wrongful action against you. I suppose that's a foreign concept to many people, particularly on the left. I understand that. And frankly, some that are, kind of quietly know what's right, but refuse to stand up, even though they're in positions of authority, which makes it that much worse. Just a little more background, too. Remember, Coach Joe Kennedy, a 20-year Marine, he's a veteran. And he's a coach that was rather beloved by his players, as you're about to hear. He has an EEOC complaint. He's hired an attorney. He's filed an EEOC complaint for discrimination based on his faith. He's trying to get his job back, and here's why.
It's ridiculous how attached you get to these kids, and not to be part of it, it's really rough.
And I think a lot of coaches feel that way. I'm sure you feel that way about your 5th and 6th grade girls, even though they're,
What?
thuggish.
Well, it was a growing, developing year.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And, we had to work on some attitudes. But, yeah, you form a bond with them that it's unique in all the world. I can say that. But for him to spend years with these kids and to pray with these kids and then be denied, it's got to just tear at his soul.
Well, and it's not just him. We'll get to a couple players to let them weigh in. But here's, again, Coach Kennedy talking about these post-game prayers.
When it first started out, it was just myself. I first started just praying myself, giving, thanks for what the players just did and the opportunity to be part of it. And before long, it started being more and more kids. Our kids started inviting the other teams. Even our most bitter rivals were out there with us, which was really amazing. I just lift up both helmets, ours and the opposing teams, and I just say, I'd like to lift these guys up for what they just did. They battled for 48 minutes, and what started, as a war, we could all leave off, as friends.
So there's Coach Kennedy describing what he's doing.
Are you offended? I'm not offended.
Yeah, and I'm not offended, obviously. What's to be offended? But in addition to that, the arguments, you can make an argument about anything. The idea that is unconstitutional, that violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, that Bremerton High School is establishing as a government entity, is establishing a national religion by allowing what Joe Kennedy just described to occur after a football game is preposterous. It's absurd. 312-642-5600. That's our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA. That's our turnkey.pro text line. Here is... this is a bit of a montage, but the team's quarterback, Connor Mahoney, and then you'll hear from Coach Kennedy again, and then you'll hear from running back Cody Whaley. So it's the quarterback, the coach again, and the running back.
During the game, we're enemies, but then he'd bring them together for one big family. And it was just kind of a huge impact on all of us.
Then all the kids say amen, and we walk off. It's a 30-second max thing.
I didn't view it as a prayer at all. He didn't say anything under God or anything involving religion. He just kind of gave us a post-game speech.
Just magical because it brought everybody, even the other teams, back together as just people, and it was awesome. This is what a team is about. At the end of the game, to come together.
He always had the right thing to say.
So, those are the players explaining their experience.
It wasn't as if he was reading scripture or the 2 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. Excuse me.
Or 3 Corinthians. I think Donald Trump is penning that.
Saying, God bless, for keeping us safe during this game. And it was real short and sweet. It wasn't.
And the other thing that's cool about it, if you watch the video at dailysignal.com, you see an example of it. He holds up the helmets of both teams as he's talking to the teams.
Are you going to make me cry?
Well, it's just, to
Well, why is Christianity under attack, especially if you're not preaching scripture and you're just thanking God?
Because there is a certain element in this country that wants to establish a national religion called paganism, because they're their own gods. Here's Coach Kennedy explaining a little bit more. Just to provide more texture on this, to be clear what's happening. You've heard from the players. You've heard from Kennedy.
Nothing is ever required. It's what they want to do. My belief is my belief. I'm not trying to push it on anybody. Faith is a very personal thing for everyone, and it's just me giving thanks.
And why he is continuing to pursue this case even after he was jettisoned by the high school.
It's not the X's and O's and winning football games. It's watching these guys overcoming the things that they go through in life and emerging as a stronger person because of it, and knowing that you get them for such a small time in their life and being able to be part of it. That's a blessing. That's what God called me to do, and I'd go through it all over again for him in a second because I love these guys.
Yeah, so
come on, you're making me miss the team.
It seems to me that's sort of the idyllic coach.
But don't we all have a coach that we miss that really shaped our lives?
Sure, like you have a teacher or teachers, of course. Right. So
who was yours?
What's that?
Who was your coach that helped create Dan Proft?
Norman Dale and Hoosiers.
Because you've seen that movie. How many times have you seen that movie?
I don't know.
1,000 times. And
maybe.
you're wearing the shirt.
Right here.
Hickory, number 15. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget who I am, and I think I'm Jimmy Chitwood. That's how impactful Hoosiers was on my life.
It was a good movie. But you don't have to loop it. I mean, it's on a constant loop in your condo, your pie in the sky. You come home, it's playing. You wake up, it's playing.
Coach, I'll make it.
Norman Dale, coach of the Ithaca Warriors, was suspended.
I can't really explain that. It's been a number of years, and it still kind of goes around in my head. I slow it down. Sometimes I really think that I can stop my fist from hitting a boy's jaw. 1 second, everything I'd worked for, it's just all finished. Funny thing, too, he's the best kid that ever played for me.
Tonight at 8, the Republican candidates debate the issues. Tomorrow morning, you debate which candidate won with Dan and Amy starting at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy. We have a snow shower this afternoon, a high of 39. Yes, Dan.
Text from Steve on 88. What next? Will they arrest the coach and players if they kneel and pray for an injured player? Good question.
That's true, because you're always taught to take a knee. And then tomorrow, intervals of clouds and some sun. Pleasant, a high of 34. Let's get travel times. And is it pleasant out on the roadways, Jim Telemonte?
Well, it is on 88. Amy and Dan, good morning. No problems to report there on the Reagan Tollway. In fact, all the tollways right now have no problems to report, so you can give thanks for that. The Edens is fine. So is the Kennedy. An earlier crash in North Avenue is gone, and the Kennedy, at least for now, is delay-free again. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little heavy past Manheim. Inbound Stevenson, got a 1 or 2 minute delay from Pulaski to Kedzie. Ryan has a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson into downtown. I-57, a little heavy from Halstead to the merge. Bishop Ford, it's a 4-minute slowdown from 103rd to the Ryan. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Great deals for you and your family. You don't need to be a movie star to get great glowing skin. Chicago Radio Deals is offering a $100 microdermabrasion session with Dr. Hannah of Hannah Facial Cosmetic Surgery in Hinsdale at half off. That's right, for only $50, you can achieve healthier looking skin. Also from Hannah Facial Cosmetic Surgery, hard to find Dysport injections. Dysport is similar to Botox, but has a very natural look. It's perfect for the forehead lines, crow's feet, and the crease that works its way between your brows. This treatment normally retails for $550, only $275 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com, and you can buy 2 of them. Looking good, want to feel good too? Well, check out the deals from Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange or Bikram Yoga of Rolling Meadows. All these deals and much more can be found only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Thank God today we got a job.
Remember when people used to wash stuff by hand, like clothes and dishes? Or how about this one? Remember when you had to wash your CPAP system by hand? Wait, you still wash your CPAP by hand? Boy, have we got to catch you up. Listen, SoClean.com has created the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's faster, more sanitary, and a heck of a lot
Pretty soon, the unions won't have any more jobs to unionize,
you can try it at
and the
home
trial lawyers won't have any more businesses to sue.
Get on this. Just call 1-800-551-8505. SoClean is completely automated and hands-free. It destroys 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Clean your CPAP system in minutes with no water or hassle. Talk about life-changing. Now, remember when you called for your in-home trial from SoClean.com? Wait, you still haven't called? Here's the number again. It's a limited-time offer, so don't wait. Call 1-800-551-8505. 1-800-551-8505.
Hi, I'm Brendan Burchard. Some people call me the world's highest paid motivational trainer, and some people call me crazy because I've just authorized a nationwide giveaway of my recent New York Times bestseller, The Motivation Manifesto. In the next 24 hours, I want to give away as many free books as possible. To get your hardcover copy, call 1-800-600-7769 or go to motivationbook.com. If you want to reach your true potential, personally, professionally, or financially, you need this book. You'll discover how to stop feeling tired and overwhelmed, identify the major enemies keeping you from living your dreams, and learn the secrets to defeating them. I'll teach you my proven strategies to start attaining the levels of drive and personal success you're craving. Financial freedom, emotional freedom, time freedom. Due to high demand, I can only offer one free book per household. To get your free book while supplies last, call now 1-800-600-7769. That's 1-800-600-7769. Or go to motivationbook.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, give me your Hillary laugh. What, if I play the game, you've got to play too.
Ho, ho, ho. No.
Gosh, you...
No, that's...
Oh, that's pretty good, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Got a little...
Try and make an effort there, okay? Hey, and thanks for coming to work today, huh?
I don't want to participate in the cackle off.
Fine.
D.C., Washington, D.C., big snowstorm this week. You may have heard.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
My sister was stuck there for 4 days. Well, she went for the march, the pro-life march.
Yes.
And she knew going into it that she might not be able to get out, but it was that important to her, so she made it there, and she finally did get home.
How do you think city government in D.C. is, well known for very efficient, user-friendly government there in Washington, D.C.? How
I
do you
bet
think
the snow's still on the ground.
How do you think the local government's responding? They helping people dig out. They're
no.
What do you think they're doing?
I think that they're not doing anything. I think after all these snowstorms, I mean, one big one will hit, every 5 years, and they don't have the equipment to move the snow.
No, they have some equipment, and they're doing something.
What, they put on hitches on top of their garbage trucks?
No.
Or in the front of the garbage trucks?
The D.C. snow emergency remained in effect through last evening at 6:30 p.m., and the city made it clear to drivers it's serious about enforcing the parking bans. Since the blizzard began on Friday, D.C. government has issued north of $1 million worth of parking tickets and $65,000 in fines. It's towed 656 cars. Vehicles are being towed at the owner's expense.
Oh, it's a money grab.
$250 tickets, $100 tow charge, $25 per day fee until they pick up their vehicles. One resident said, they gave me $250 ticket just for being snowed in. I couldn't get no help, said Danielle Smith. So the government is taking this opportunity in D.C. to fleece its taxpayers whose cars are on the streets parked normally where there's not a parking ban in effect, and then the snow comes, and they don't have anywhere to park their cars, and so they're snowed in, and now they're being fined hundreds of dollars to get their car back.
It's a money grab. I mean, it's brilliant. Mother Nature helped them out with a way to fleece their citizens.
Yeah, government aligned against the interests of its constituents. We see this play out over and over and over again, which demands the question, why does anyone want to give government at any level more power? Aligned against your interests, and you look to them for solutions. Think through the logic of that.
Want to see what you'd look like if you had a flatter belly? Now's your chance, because for a limited time, we're giving away free trials of New Biotics, the new discovery that flattens bloated bellies fast. But hurry and call now while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-974-7685. Strict limit of one free trial per household. These free trials are reserved for anyone, male or female, who's looking for maximum belly flattening in minimum time. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly? Now's your chance. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving these trials of New Biotics away for free. 1-800-974-7685. That's 1-800-974-7685. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-974-7685.
Turnkey IT is a name you've come to know and trust here on AM 560. Turnkey IT provides small businesses with IT resources that are normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. They provide world-class network installations and ongoing IT support for fixed monthly rates based on the size of your network. In fact, Turnkey IT has a program that fits the needs of your business. Turnkey IT understands that your business matters and that keeping you focused on it makes all the difference in the world. Best of all, their service can save you time and money. Turnkey IT can give you the peace of mind that backups are being executed. Email is always available. Files are secure. And you've got someone to call when you need help. Turnkey IT has people who are professional, friendly, on time, and a live person even answers the phone 24 hours a day. So visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll review Governor Rauner's State of the State address with Ted Dabrowski from the Illinois Policy Institute. Get your reactions as well at 6:06.
And it's a story straight up my alley, ghosts and the Iowa fight song. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Rauner speaks and sticks to his agenda. The FTC accuses DeVry of deceit and the Bulls to miss Mirotic for several games. Cloudy and breezy today. WIND Chicago News Times, 6 o'clock.
News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It doesn't look like Donald Trump's changing his mind about not showing up for tonight's Republican debate. Angry at Fox and one of the moderators.
I said, how much of this do you take? I have zero respect for Megyn Kelly.
It's more time for the other 7 candidates, like Marco Rubio.
Probably the last opportunity to talk to people here in Iowa about why they should caucus for me.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Des Moines.
Well, the Trump-less debate may be the opening some of those candidates have been waiting for to be heard by voters like this man who told me conservative values are what he is looking for.
Not just economic conservative, but social issues as well, and I'm looking for the true conservative in the party, of the Republican Party.
Others say they'd like to know more about where the candidates stand on agriculture, ethanol, and trade agreements. Both the early and primetime debates can be heard tonight on many Fox News radio stations, Dave.
Tanya, guns have gone missing, and Homeland Security. And that's not all. Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live in Washington.
Badges, credentials, cell phones, and guns belonging to Homeland Security Department employees have been lost or stolen in recent years, and there's worry they could have fallen into the wrong hands. Inventory reports show more than 1,300 badges, 165 firearms, and 589 cell phones are unaccounted for. An agency spokesman says they strive to be good stewards of government resources and have improved oversight over the past few years. Dave.
Rachel, the now jailed leader of the land rights protest at a wildlife refuge in Oregon, wants everyone else to go home.
I'm asking the federal government to allow the people at the refuge to go home without being prosecuted.
Ammon Bundy's lawyer reading his statement. 3 more followers were arrested last night. Bundy was picked up at a traffic stop that led to a shooting that killed the protest spokesman. A lot of Americans remember this vividly 30 years ago today.
Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle.
But shortly after the Space Shuttle Challenger lifted off, it blew up in the sky, killing all 7 astronauts, including schoolteacher Krista McAuliffe. Her son will lead a ceremony at NASA today. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly clear skies this early morning. Winds out of the south at 13 at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. New this morning, a judge expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29th sentencing in his hush money case. Hastert entered the hospital in November after pleading guilty to breaking banking laws. Hastert left the hospital a couple of weeks ago. The illness, by the way, does not necessarily preclude a defendant from being sentenced or imprisoned. The Chicago Public Schools have decided to delay an $875 million planned borrowing bond sale as investors consider whether to bet on the cash-strapped district's bonds. Chief Financial Officer Carol Brown says the district was asked by several investors to wait a few days to give them more time to decide whether buying the bonds is feasible. Republican Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner used his second State of the State address to call for bipartisan cooperation for the sake of the state's economy. AM 560's David Stewart with a review of the governor's address.
Governor Rauner held out an olive branch, but then used it to whip unions, especially AFSCME, whose contract demands Rauner called out of touch.
We already have the highest paid state employees in America.
Afterward, Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan chastised Rauner for not mentioning the continuing budget crisis.
Very interesting that the governor would come before a joint session of the General Assembly speaking to the state of Illinois and decline to comment that we don't have a full budget.
Madigan also pointed out that the successes Rauner mentioned came about when Rauner dropped his anti-union agenda. David Stewart, Chicago.
Attorneys for the wife of a Northern Illinois police officer who killed himself after embezzling from a youth program is vehemently denying charges. She took part in that scheme. Melody Glenowitz is devastated, according to her lawyer, by a Lake County grand jury indictment handed down yesterday. It says that she was a victim of her husband's secret actions. Lake County Sheriff's Detective Christopher Covelli says Melody Glenowitz and her husband did use money from the Youth Explorer program for their own personal use.
The Explorer Youth program in Fox Lake had been used to fund visits to Starbucks, visits to Dunkin' Donuts, a trip to Hawaii, which was very expensive.
A spokesperson for the Lake County Sheriff's Department also says the couple's adult son, DJ, did receive money from that account, but according to the sheriffs, did not have any idea where it came from and will not be charged with financial crimes. Chicago sports, Bulls forward Nikola Mirotic sidelined until after the All-Star break.
To achieve a grand compromise,
the news
we must cast partisanship and ideology aside.
The rule for health insurance is this weekend. Patient Innovation Center hosting free enrollment events.
People are losing their jobs, they're losing their educational opportunities, they're losing the services that they need, and it doesn't seem like this governor is putting together any kind of plan to fix any of this.
AM 560.
This election season, only one station in Chicago has carried every single
I found it very interesting. The governor's speech did not deal with the fact that there is no budget for the current fiscal year.
Will debate again beginning at 8 p.m. right after the Joe Walsh Show.
Apparently,
raising taxes without improving our ability to compete will not help the people of Illinois, and in fact, it will make things worse.
King Kong versus Godzilla
On AM 560, The Answer.
Paid for by Bonner & Partners, an independent research firm.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
I've posted a free video that details everything you need to know at $disaster8.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. Just go to $disaster8.com. That's $disaster8.com.
6:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest on the roads with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In the loop, there's a crash at Adams and Wabash. The Edens Expressway has no problems, crashes, or delays to report. Kennedy still fine, too. 20 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound the same. Inbound Eisenhower at 83, there's a stall in the left lane, and there's congestion past Manheim. 30 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound fine at 29. Inbound Stevenson has a 2-minute delay, Pulaski to Kedzie. The Rhine has delays from the merge to 79th, then from the Stevenson into the loop, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes. I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 19. Traffic is a service of eFax. Make saving time and money your New Year's resolution. Now you can fax with your phone instead of an expensive fax machine. Visit efax.com/30 days for a free 30-day trial. That's efax.com/30 days for a free 30-day trial. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Aircomfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and breezy today with a couple of afternoon snow showers, high 40, partly cloudy night, low 19. Tomorrow, clouds and sun with a high 33 and a partly cloudy and breezy night with a low 30. Then clouds and sun for Saturday with a high 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
30 at O'Hare, 32 along the lakefront. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Aging Info Radio. Heard Sunday mornings at 9, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And despite no budget deal, Governor Bruce Rauner made his case today in his second State of the State address. Changes, he says, that will make the state more competitive.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says he believes he will win if voter turnout is high. CNN's latest poll of polls out today shows Senator Sanders and Hillary Clinton locked in a virtual dead heat.
After 5 minutes of bashing Donald Trump for being there, what do you think the rest of the candidates are going to do? Are they going to continue to go after Donald Trump? Or are they going to start piling on Ted Cruz? And who benefits more from that? Donald Trump. This could end up being a very shrewd move by the front.
All right. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. What is up, Dan and Amy? And Governor Rauner delivered his State of the State address yesterday where he dropped his G's and dropped some truth on the Illinois political ruling class as well.
Raising taxes without improving our ability to compete will not help the people of Illinois. And in fact, it will make things worse.
And this, I thought, was perhaps the signature line in terms of his zinger of the entire speech.
Pretty soon, the unions won't have any more jobs to unionize, and the trial lawyers won't have any more businesses to sue.
Received a smattering of applause, but yeah.
Well, that's because there's only a smattering of House and Senate Republicans that exist. The super minorities can't make as much noise as those super majorities. Although the supermajority Democrats in both chambers were largely silent during the speech. Of course, because their lordship over the state and the city for 100 years, the state for generations. Mike Madigan, 30 years as Speaker. John Cullerton, 37 years in the state Senate. You know, it's going very well, isn't it?
Isn't it weird how they sit up high like that and next to each other, Madigan and Cullerton, and look down on people?
Well, it's just...
And then they decide, and they just look like they're so...
Yes.
Empowered.
It is.
It's almost unwatchable.
It is. Ugh. It is an interesting metaphor, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Madigan responded curtly to what the governor had to say.
I found it very interesting. The governor's speech did not deal with the fact that there is no budget for the current fiscal year.
Here's what I find interesting, you licentious little leprechaun, Madigan. Here's what I find interesting. I find it interesting that you don't know that revenue bills originate in the House. You're the Speaker in terms of the budgeting process. I also find it this interesting. We haven't had a constitutionally balanced budget in this state for the past 14 years.
Wow.
So we've passed budgets that are not budgets, they're fairy tales. And Mike Madigan has been Speaker for all of those 14 years. How do we rack up $214 billion in debt, Speaker Madigan? How does that happen? Has that happened in the last 12 months since Governor Rauner has been governor? I don't think so. And it would be nice if the Springfield/Chicago Press Corps would push Madigan on those matters with the specifics that are widely available
Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. This is why we need gentlemen like our next guest, Ted Dabrowski, who's the Vice President of Policy at the Illinois Policy Institute, illinoispolicy.org. And full disclosure, I'm affiliated with the Illinois Policy Institute. But we need guys like Ted who know what they're talking about to inform the bloviations with data. Ted, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So your reaction to Madigan's reaction to the lack of a budget, which seems to be the Democrats' rallying cry here. Yes, Illinois has problems, but it's Governor Rauner's fault that we're in this place with this budget impasse because he hasn't proposed a constitutionally balanced budget.
No, I think it's. I'm glad he's bringing it up because he's bringing up his own problem. You're absolutely right. He's had a phony budget for decades now. It's on him, and I think it's very interesting that people try to blame Rauner. But when you strip it all away, it's under Madigan that we've had these pension liabilities just go up to over $100 billion, and as you mentioned, total debt over $200 billion. We've lost in the last 7-8 years. We've lost over 100,000 manufacturing jobs to the likes of Indiana and Wisconsin. Our blue collar workers are getting paid less and less. This didn't happen under Rauner. We've been passing fake, phony budgets and bad policies for decades now. And it's Rauner. I think if there's anything to take away from the speech yesterday, is that Rauner stayed consistent. He didn't capitulate to everybody. He stayed consistent, and he's going to stick to his reforms that are going to make Illinois grow again.
Well, we've had 14 years without a budget, and this is the second state of the state that Rauner has delivered without a budget in place. How long is this going to last, and how is this going to end? What is going to promote change? What shoe is going to drop?
Well, at some point, one of the shoes that might drop is Chicago going bankrupt. Maybe CPS goes bankrupt first and then Chicago next. And I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on that we can't keep running things the way we do. I think Chicago is just emblematic of exactly how we run the state, maybe a little bit worse. But I think what's going to happen is that the rating agencies are going to keep saying that we're deadbeats. And when we get into that kind of trouble, it's going to force some decisions. I think what's missing from this whole debate is why we're not holding Madigan accountable. Why isn't Madigan passing his turnaround agenda? Why isn't he passing a budget or a tax hike? If he wants a tax hike so badly, pass it. Let Rauner defeat it. Let Rauner veto it, and then let's see if Madigan can override it. He doesn't think he can, and that's why he won't pass anything. But I think the pressure needs to go on to Madigan and Cullerton and force them to bring out their own agenda.
But the governor said yesterday that raising taxes isn't going to happen on his watch without pro-business reforms.
Well, I think this is why Rauner is the right guy, and I think he did two things yesterday. One is he's going to stick to reforming things like workers' compensation costs because he knows that if businesses keep leaving, we'll lose our jobs, we'll lose our people, we'll lose our tax base, and things will just get worse and worse. So I think he's right to focus on all those reforms that are necessary. Look, a bad budget or even a balanced budget doesn't really matter. If we don't reform the state, it's never going to get better. We have the worst governance in the nation, and we have the worst financial crisis in the nation. So we need the boldest reforms, and I think that's what Rauner's right to focus on.
Well, and you mentioned the Chicago Public Schools, which, again, that is the province of the city of Chicago. That is the province of the mayor of the city of Chicago. Yesterday, facing hefty yields, CPS postponed their planned $875 million bond sale. And they're going to kind of evaluate the timing of that.
Day to day.
Day to day, they said. Right now, CPS borrows at a rate similar to Tanzania because of its junk-rated bankrupt, effectively, substantively bankrupt, maybe not legally, but substantively bankrupt status. And Rauner and Republicans have extended an opportunity for CPS to kind of reorganize to help get its house in order. That has been flatly rejected because it seems to me that all the Chicago Democrats who continue to lord over the state, even with a Republican governor, all they want to do is continue to kind of push off doomsday for one day longer. And that's been the strategy that's been employed by the political ruling class in the state for generations, which is why we are where we are.
Well, I think, Amy's question about how does this play out. Look, Chicago's trying to avoid doing the right things, which is reforming. What they're trying to do is just get a bailout from the state. Rauner said, no, I'm not going to give it to you unless you reform. So Rahm Emanuel's saying, well, I'm not going to reform. I'm going to go to the bond market. Well, now he tries to go out to the bond market and borrow nearly $1 billion, and the market says, no, I don't like it. If CPS is broke, we're not going to lend you money. And so now that's going to force some issues here about whether Rahm has to finally cave and agree to some reforms, or we're going to have some serious issues with layoffs and a massive problem in CPS as it collapses.
And that problem also may find its way back to state government. Rauner went after the largest state public sector union, AFSCME, yesterday in the speech, suggesting, they're just not dealing in the reality of the math of the situation with respect to state employee compensation where it is currently, which is, AFSCME puts out a release saying we're not the highest in the nation. As Rauner said, we're 9th highest in the nation. So, you can have fun with the statistics depending on how you interpret compensation. But even for AFSCME to suggest we're the 9th highest and the worst rated with the largest unfunded pension liability, and they're suggesting 9th highest isn't good enough. So anyway, he takes out after AFSCME. And if AFSCME isn't willing to come to the table, we could be facing mass layoffs at the state level, too.
Absolutely. We look at the unions. You look at AFSCME. You look at Chicago Teachers Union. They're militant. They're aggressive. They don't seem to care about what they actually are doing to the state finances or city finances. And we ran the numbers on AFSCME in the last decade. Their salaries, just base salaries, have grown 5 times faster than the average Chicagoan. It's just, or I should say, the median Chicagoan. But they're growing way too fast. They're out of control. And the people who pay for them, the people who have to pay for those salaries, the taxpayers, are struggling. And it's just not fair. And it's just it's out of sync.
And the other thing, you had a piece this week about teachers and teacher pensions, and how give us the drill down in terms of how much more we have spent on K through 12 education in this state, because Rauner talked a lot about that, more school funding. I'm not so sure, but he talked a lot about that. How much more we have spent in the last 5 years on K through 12 schools and where that money has gone.
Well, it's amazing. Cullerton came out and said we need to change how the money moves around within the school districts, between Chicago, downstate, Cook County, Collars, excuse me. And, we said, wait a minute, that's not going to do anything, just shuffling the money around. If you need to look at pensions. And so we added up all the new money that has gone into education in the last 5 years, over and above what was spent in 2009. So all the new money, $8.9 billion in new money, and nearly 90 cents out of every dollar went to pensions, and only 10 cents was making it into the classroom. So it's all going to pensions. You can throw more money into education. It's all going to go to teacher pensions, and it's not going to go into your language arts class, your music class, a helper in the classroom. No, it's going to pensions.
So $9 billion, and 90% of that went to teacher pensions. This is just in the last 5 years. Then how does even the compromise, and I know maybe this was the best Rauner can do to at least take a baby step, but how does the compromise he announced yesterday between him and Senate President Cullerton, even if it were to be agreed to by Madigan, to save $1 billion a year from 4 of the 5 state pension systems, how does that even make a dent when you're talking about the TRS numbers that you just described?
It starts to make a dent. I think it's more of a strategic or political move by Rauner to get a discussion going, to get a compromise going, and to at least look. Nobody's even talked about pensions in the last 8 months or since May, when the Supreme Court said we can't change pensions for current workers. And since then, it's just we've gone mute. And so I think Rauner was right just to get that conversation started again and at least get negotiations going. So, it's a small step. It's not going to be the thing that fixes the problem, but we do need to get started.
All right. He is Ted Dabrowski, the Vice President of Policy at the Illinois Policy Institute, illinoispolicy.org. Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey .pro answer line.
Only one station in Chicago is carrying the Fox News Republican presidential debate tonight. That station is this one. Your election headquarters is AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, a vacant building in a tiny town in New York is playing a very bizarre song. We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast today. Mostly cloudy. We're going to have a couple of afternoon snow showers, a high of 39 degrees. And then tomorrow, some clouds and sun, a high of 34. See if there's any ghostly stories out on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, good morning. Good morning, Dan. Right now on northbound I-65, Maryville, there's a crash involving a semi-tractor and a car. It's right at US 30. Right now, only the right shoulder is blocked. Eden's inbound, heavy Peterson to the junction. 20 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound fine at 19. Kennedy, 24 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. Eisenhower. 31 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound still fine. Stevenson has a 2-minute delay from Pulaski to Kedzie. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound fine at 15. I-57 had a 2-minute delay approaching the merge. Bishop Ford had a 4 or 5-minute delay approaching the Ryan. We have delays on the northbound tri-state. The Stevenson to before Ogden. There's some wire debris, and this is northbound 294 before Ogden. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Time is running out. Yes, you have until tomorrow to purchase your trip to escape with us to Cabo. The special price secured just for us by Apple Vacations expires January 29th, which is tomorrow. After that, the price will go up and availability will be limited. We're heading to Los Cabos, Mexico, Saturday through Saturday, April 2nd through April 9th. And our trip is presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates. We'll be staying at the beautiful Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort. Adults only, all-inclusive, all suites. Every view has ocean views, so that's great. Every room does. There's 8 restaurants, 4 bars, and there's a beautiful pool, miles of pristine beaches, and adjacent to the resort, 2 9-hole golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus and Greg Norman. So join us in Cabo. Get more information and book your trip today. Do it today by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. You can also enter for a chance to win a trip for 2 to Los Cabos. Simply download the AM 560 mobile app, click on the Enter to Win banner, and good luck. We'll announce that winner on Monday.
How long would you wait for your shower to get hot? How long would you wait for your cell phone to fully charge? How long would you wait to get relief from your nasal congestion? If you're congested now and you want powerful relief now, use Afrin No Drip. Afrin starts working in seconds and keeps working for 12 hours. So why wait? When you can start to get relief in seconds with Afrin. Afrin, powerful congestion relief without the wait. Use as directed. For more information, go to Afrin.com.
I'm all about keeping it simple. Been getting the same haircut from the same guy for 20 years. You can't beat simple. That's why the first place I turn to when I need something is Grainger. I don't want one place for my safety products and another for my abrasives. Grainger has over 1.2 million products and the solutions I need to help keep this place running. Grainger. Simple. Simple. Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger. For the ones who get it done.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
AM 560, The Answer.
Ooh, something very scary is going on in the tiny town of Niagara, New York. Have you ever been there?
I've gone over Niagara Falls in a barrel.
Oh, that's right. And you survived,
Yeah.
right? I walked over it on a tightrope, yeah. But in Niagara, New York, there's a lot of vacant buildings. A lot of businesses have shut down. They've come upon some hard times. So there's one business, a vacant building. And for the past 8 months now, there's this song
I feel like we should have a campfire going
that's
here.
been playing out of an open window. And it's been going on and on and on. And no one knew what it was. But it plays every night from 3 to 11 p.m. And it sounds an awful lot like that. Listen.
Yeah.
Do you hear it?
I hear it.
It doesn't go away in Niagara, New York. Well,
It's giving me a headache. Maybe that's why people are leaving.
Well, one restaurant owner across the street, his name is David Jewson, and he just had to figure out what it's that noise.
Not really sure. Don't know what really started it. Our manager, Tim Messer, finally decided to use Shazam and identify that that's what song it was. So, no one really paid attention to it.
And what song it was the Iowa fight song, playing every day from 3 to 11 p.m. for the past 8 months. Now, I did the math.
Is that where Dr.
Dan.
Tom Davis relocated to?
No. This isn't good. All right, so the 50-second fight song clip that you're hearing now, over the course of 7 hours, looped 500 times. 500 times.
Has there been a bout of insanity that has taken hold in Niagara?
Niagara police have been called in to investigate.
Our tenants, residential tenants upstairs, have filed complaints, and the police have been here. They've not really violated the law in the fact that they've played between 3 and 11, and it's not so loud as it really, again, what violates the decibel ordinance, noise ordinance, I believe.
I think it's by definition disturbing the peace.
Why? It hasn't affected his business, but during the summer months when they're outside on the patio, the patrons are mad. They said this noise is making me sick.
Right.
What is that noise?
Yeah.
I mean, Big Ten Iowa football fight song in the middle of a street. Nobody knows where it's coming from, and police can't get into that building because it's an empty building. But the owner of the building, he owns Smokin' Joe's, he will not allow anybody inside. So it continues, but the owner claims that he's not doing this, that it's some extra bean.
B.J. Armstrong?
Jeff Moe, I don't know, but here's the owner again.
On one hand, music on the street wouldn't necessarily be bad, but I don't know having the same Iowa fight song repeated every, 50 seconds, if that's necessarily a positive thing.
No, not if you want to.
We're slowly convincing people in the town of Niagara to become Iowa Hawkeye fans.
So the owner's playing the song. He's just got the song going.
He's not. He's not. He claims that he is not playing the song.
This is a ghost like the ghost that was in your house that turned out to be your son?
Exactly. Go Hawks.
Look into the darkness, Mulder.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. With me today is one heck of a great service partner.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, I'm Andrea Kashaba, owner of Tulane & Associates Accounting and Tax Services here in Elk Grove, servicing small businesses since 1986. I heard Precision Payroll ads years ago. I called on behalf of one of my clients. Tom came out, met with us. Since then, we've added 6 more clients and absolutely love working with Tom and Precision Payroll. As an accounting professional, I love having the connection with Precision Payroll as it makes serving my clients even easier.
Andrea, thanks for coming in and sharing our success story. You are awesome and a joy to work with. If you want to partner with us or work with us, call me directly at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. We're on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
Guys and girls, listen up. Maybe we can't stop time, but these bags and the puffiness under your eyes don't need to be there. And now, thanks to Genucell, you can definitely get rid of them. The new Genucell plant stem cell therapy for bags and puffiness under the eyes from our friends at Chamonix is doing just that for men and women all across this great country of ours. Why wait? Order it now and see the difference. Josie from Littlefield, Arizona writes, I've been using Genucell for 2 weeks, and my husband is amazed. He says all the puffiness is gone. I love this product so much, I want to use it on my entire body. Well, Josie, your husband can use Genucell too. It works for men and women. In fact, with its instant effects, which is a separate product, you'll see results in as little as 12 hours or your money back. So call 800-525-8323. That's 800-525-8323. Order Genucell right now and get the legendary Esotique wrinkle treatment absolutely free with your order. Genucell works, guaranteed or your money back. 800-525-8323. That's 800-525-8323. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
More arrests in Oregon, and Ammo Bundy tells the other occupiers to turn them to leave the refuge. We'll have the details and an update at 6:36.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, clear and 30 degrees this morning. Winds are gusting out of the south at 14. Republican presidential candidates debate tonight without Donald Trump. The GOP frontrunner plans to skip the debate, he says, on Fox News.
I was not treated well by Fox. They came out with this ridiculous PR statement. It was like drawn up by a child. and it was a taunt. And I said, how much of this do you take? I have zero respect for Megyn Kelly. I don't think she's very good at what she does. I think she's highly overrated.
Trump, meantime, will be a few blocks away at Drake University holding his own event he says will benefit veterans organizations. GOP presidential candidate Chris Christie continues to question why Trump is skipping the debate.
Why is he picking on Megyn Kelly? I mean, why is he picking on Fox News? I don't understand that. It makes no sense. This guy's got more coverage on this network by a multiple of 5 or 6 than any of the rest of us. And he says he's being treated unfairly?
The New Jersey governor joins the rest of the field on AM 560 tonight for the Fox-Google debate, beginning at 8 on The Answer, following the Joe Walsh Show. Walmart closing 130 stores today. Part of its plan to shut down a total of 54 stores across the country. Many of those outlets are super centers. The weeks-long occupation of an Oregon wildlife refuge may be nearing an end. 3 more protesters were arrested overnight as they approached checkpoints manned by the FBI. A judge expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29th sentencing in his hush money case at a Chicago federal courtroom. There should be action today. Chicago Public Schools officials have decided to delay $875 million in planned borrowing as investors consider whether to bet the cash-strapped district's bonds. Meantime, a check of maintenance records is showing that Chicago police officers routinely sabotage the audio components of their dash cam video systems. DNA Info reporting 1,800 police maintenance logs show that officer error and intentional destruction were responsible for the lack of audio on 80% of dashcam videos before a management crackdown last month. And it may be time to go back in time again. The DeLorean is making a comeback. And we're not talking about time travel or any new Back to the Future movies. DeLorean Motor announcing yesterday it will build 300 replicas of the 1982 model made famous in the movie. DeLorean has not built a car since 1982. Get ready to shell out big bucks, close to $100,000. Chicago sports last night, college hoops. Butler over DePaul. Northern Iowa beat Bradley. The Shockers of Wichita State over Loyola. The news a service of the Patient Innovation Center. Patient Innovation Center hosting free late-night enrollment events across the state to help you sign up and avoid a big fine. Careful, time is running out. Visit pickcares.com to find a free event near you, PICcares.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't see a problem with the Republican frontrunners.
It's Trump 1, it's Cruz 2. That would mean that the Republicans will nominate somebody that the establishment hates. In other words, it'll be an insurgency candidate. And that's something that should excite anybody that is fed up with how poorly and how badly Washington Republicans have performed in recent years.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
The Chicago Wolves host Rockford this Saturday at 7 at Allstate Arena, part of the Illinois Lottery Cup. The overall series record between these two teams is virtually even. For ticket information, visit ChicagoWolves.com.
Are you having a prostate enlargement? He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want to shoot. Up to go. And they did. They shot him dead. A drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own. So you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7853. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 Saw Palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7853. That's 1-800-317-7853. 1-800-317-7853.
Our time is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. With our very latest, here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Northbound I-65 at US 30. There's a crash on the right shoulder. Inbound Edens, heavy starting around Peterson. 20 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 25 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 26. The Eisenhower's 40 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 30. Stevenson, running 40 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, slow central to Kedzie. Outbound, it's fine. Orion, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 23 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Northbound Tri-State, we're seeing heavy delays now from just past 95th to before Ogden Avenue. There's a spool of electrical wire that's on the roadway. It's just, we're told, been moved to the left shoulder, but there's also some wood debris there just before Ogden on northbound 294. Traffic is a service of Whole Foods Market. Save today at your local Whole Foods Market. Organic whole trade bell peppers are just $2.99 per pound. And get 5 avocados for just $5. Visit Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, breezy, with some afternoon snow expected, high 39. A chilly night ahead, low of 19. 31 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so talked about this yesterday. Ammon Bundy, or Ammo Bundy, as I think he should be called, and 7 others arrested on, what's today, Thursday? So arrested on Tuesday.
Tuesday night, or late afternoon.
And then 3 more were arrested yesterday. 5 others left the compound. There seems to be unanimity in terms of ending this takeover occupation of this wildlife refuge outside Burns, Oregon. Ammo Bundy said yesterday through his lawyer, "We'll have more to say on this later, but right now I'm asking the federal government to allow the people at the refuge to go home without being prosecuted. To those remaining at the refuge, I love you. Let us take this fight from here. Please stand down, go home, and hug your families. This fight is ours for now in the courts. Please go home."
And there's different reports, some saying that there's 10 people there still, and then others report saying that there's 36 people there who are armed, who are refusing to leave.
Anybody disagree that it's time for this to be over and for the grievances to be
played out in a court of law?
Well, not just a court of law, but also the court of public opinion. That you take your grievances through the appropriate channels, as it were. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro. Text line, the FBI, in conjunction with the U.S. Attorney for Oregon, in conjunction with the Harney County Sheriff's Department, had a press conference yesterday.
Yeah, I thought their sheriff, Dave Ward, was going to cry. I mean, he was very emotional about this.
Before, this was, the presser was before the Ammo Bundy statement through his lawyer that I just read. And here's Sheriff Ward essentially suggesting that, this needs to come to an end.
We work through the appropriate channels. This can't happen anymore. This can't happen in America, and it can't happen in Harney County.
And he gave a little bit more perspective on how long this has been ongoing, well before it became national news, international news, well before you had federal law enforcement involved. It dates back to November when members of this makeshift group, Citizens for Constitutional Freedom, came to the Sheriff's Department to sit down and talk with Sheriff Ward.
I've been working on peaceful resolution of this problem since November 5th, when several of the individuals arrested yesterday came into my office. They had ultimatums that I couldn't meet. I'm here to uphold the law.
Right, and he didn't detail what those ultimatums were, but remember, this is not just about kind of the larger issue of the federal government and the Bureau of Land Management specifically, and how that agency interacts with ranchers in the western part of the United States, specifically Oregon. It's also about this case of the 2 ranchers, the father and son, the Hammonds, that are being given a rather stiff sentence for crimes they allegedly commit, which seem very much in dispute. David French in National Review had an excellent piece back at the beginning of the year about the Hammonds case, and there's a lot of serious questions about the case, but Obviously, that is, if those were part of the demands, that is well beyond the purview of the county sheriff.
Well, also, too, there's questions about what really happened at this traffic stop.
Right.
I mean, his family, the victim, Leroy Finicum, they're saying, oh, he had his hands up and said, don't, he was in the Michael Brown position, really, with his hands coming out of the car. But the police are disputing that, and FBI agents are saying that's not what happened. He came out shooting at them.
Here's what Sheriff Ward, well, we'll hear from Sheriff Ward here, and then we'll hear from an eyewitness, Victoria Sharp, who was in the car with Leroy Finicum when it occurred. So here's the sheriff talking about that traffic stop in question.
I'm disappointed that a traffic stop yesterday that was supposed to bring peaceful resolution to this ended badly.
Yeah, the sheriff was genuinely upset about
because he
about
knew him.
everything.
But he knew him. He
Right.
knew
I mean, this is
Leroy.
right. Everybody knows everybody
Right,
here.
and
That's what seems to be fairly clear, and it's not surprising in small communities. But now Victoria Sharp, again, she's eyewitness. This is her account. She was in the car with Finicum, and this is what she said happened.
Just stop for a second. He got out of the car and he had his hands in the air. He's like, and rest. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead.
And Leroy Finicum has told reporters in the past, I'd rather die than go to prison. And here's some file footage of that. He was being interviewed by Gabe Gutierrez on NBC News, and he was under a tarp holding a weapon. That's how he got the nickname Tarp Man, and said this.
I have no intention of spending any of my days in a concrete box.
Yeah, that's a little bit out of context, okay, because he also said,
I mean,
I'll tell you why, because he also said in a previous interview that he was not interested in violent confrontation with the government, that he wanted this to be peaceful. So
he ran his car into a snowbank yesterday, and according to the feds, got out with his weapon. That's why they shot him.
Well, that's according to the feds. And so here's what I would suggest, and David French suggests the same in National Review Online. You think there's video of what happened? You think they have video cams?
They better have video dashboard cams or body cams.
So let's see it.
Okay.
I
want to see it.
Yeah, so let's see what happened, and that will hopefully resolve what occurred with that confrontation between Finicum and law enforcement at that traffic stop.
Well, his daughter says her dad is now a martyr.
He's a great man, and just because he's dead doesn't mean that his fight won't go on. He's now a martyr.
And this is why the video needs to be seen, because very much like we've seen in police cases, whether it's Ferguson or Baltimore or Chicago.
Lots of Chicagos.
If you don't see the video, you can have a false account take hold. I mean, you still have people saying, Michael Brown was a hands-up situation, and it clearly was not. But so this is the same dynamic. It doesn't have to be black versus white.
Nope.
It can be white versus white. This isn't about race. This is about the relationship between law enforcement and the citizenry. And so let's see this sooner rather than later if the FBI has something for people to see, because if it doesn't happen, then his death could be a rallying cry for more unrest and perhaps even more confrontation. And I think that's something everyone wants to avoid, isn't it?
I mean, so who do you believe? 312-642-5600. I'm tending, of course, I'm just being honest, I'm leaning more toward believing the feds than I am the ranchers.
Well, okay. Well, based on reports
that
just
I
your
read,
intuition.
and then
I know.
reports that I read in the story that I saw last night on NBC News, which I know is biased. I know, but they.
Brian Williams reporting on that?
No, hey, nice.
Ron and Bourbonnais, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. The reason this is happening because there has ceased to be recourse to the courts of law because the Constitution has basically been totally ignored as to the federal government's responsibility with land and the ability of the public to use those lands. The federal government should not own those lands out there. Yeah. That didn't happen for the first 100 years or so of our existence. It's something that the bureaucracies take over. The bureaucracies make the rules. They renege on the rules, and then they expect everybody to roll over and play dead.
Yeah.
This has gone on long enough.
Thanks for the
We have people enforcing laws that aren't laws.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Appreciate it. And so this is a good example of a prevailing opinion there. And so the question is, how do you resolve these issues? And look, there are a lot of elected members of Congress who are in the Republican majority out in the western states, maybe less so in Oregon, but in those western states where there have been other confrontations between Bureau of Land Management and ranchers. The federal government, your duly elected representative should do something about that, and that there should be pressure put on them to do so. I think there are legitimate questions that are raised. We talked to Keith Nance, this rancher from Oregon, who wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post about what it's like to be a rancher in that state and deal with the federal government. And very reasonable, is sympathetic to the opinions, to the experience of Ammo Bundy and his crew, not necessarily in agreement with the tactics. But they're real underlying issues, and they should be addressed. They absolutely should be addressed. Why should the federal government own half of Oregon and 80% of Nevada and so many of the western states?
And Arizona, too.
Why is the federal government allowed to do what private citizens are not without consequence, which is to strike a deal and then, as Ron from Bourbonnais said, then renege on the deal or change the terms of the deal midstream? It's impossible to run a food production business, which is what these ranchers do, in that kind of environment. And, food production is kind of important.
Just a tad bit.
Let's go to Dave in Lamont.
Hey, I would like to thank you, first of all, for having me on your great show. I'd like to just echo the previous caller. Federal government, these agencies, EPA, OSHA, Bureau of Land Management, Department of Education, they're out of control. And, even though this protest didn't go down perfectly, and, people getting killed. Yes, please.
Thanks.
Sorry, I'm at McDonald's drive-up.
All right.
It's out of control. Somebody's got to stand up to them.
Don't spill that coffee. It's very hot. Thanks for the call, Dave.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Blair on the south side. Hey, Blair.
Hello?
Yep, you're on.
Hey, it's actually Larry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Larry on the south side. My bad.
Yeah. So, it's kind of ironic to me that, through all these issues we've seen in videos, it's always obey the police. But here you got these guys brandishing guns. They stay out there for months, and no one seems to see all of a sudden they don't have to obey the police. It just seems like a crazy double standard to me. No matter what their concern is, if they're out there with guns and the police tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it. At least that's what I've been hearing in the narrative all this time for all these other videos. But for some odd reason, these guys get to just live lawlessly like they want to.
Well, thanks for the call, Blair.
Well, 6 turned them. Six obliged by police, but 2 of them didn't.
Thanks. Well, point of order. 11 have been arrested. So they're not allowed to do this lawlessly. What the police did smartly was not create a confrontation. They de-escalated. They waited for them to leave the refuge so they could effect, ideally, a peaceful traffic stop and take them into custody. But they're not being allowed to live lawlessly. They're not being allowed to do what they did without consequence. That's clear.
Well, I think his point is that some are still there in the compound living there.
Right. And the idea is now you have everyone, including Ammo Bundy, calling for a peaceful resolution, calling for them to come out and go home. So, that's you want peaceful resolutions to confrontation. Michael in Riverside.
Good morning. How are you, Dan and Amy?
Good morning.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, I agree with you, Dan. This issue has been bubbling out west for, as the gentleman from Bourbonnais said, for decades and decades. And your one comment about the Western legislators, the problem that they have is each state, as you know, has 2 senators and then their appropriate number of representatives. And it's stacked against them when you count the number of legislators east of the Rockies versus west of the Rockies. And if you look at the land that's managed by the federal government and public agencies between the west and the east, it is predominantly west of the Rockies.
Well, yeah,
So-
that's true. But when you have a national issue like this has become, you can have people that don't represent those states get involved, as should happen. Thanks for the call, Michael. Bob in Waukegan.
Yeah, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. We need to see that video cam or whatever they have on that so that we can put that to rest, because it never should have happened. Nobody should be shot like this. They probably should have just left them out there in the cold all winter and resolve this in the spring when the weather was better. So at least they could have put them through a couple months of hell. But the media campaign I think they should start out there is just get signs that say "Don't ROM us."
Thanks for the call, Bob.
Catch the Republican debate tonight at 8. Then talk about it with Dan and Amy tomorrow morning from 5 to 9, only on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, a couple of afternoon snow showers, no big accumulations, a high of 39 degrees. Then tomorrow, some clouds and sunshine. That's good, a high of 34. And the weekend looks great, mild both days, highs in the upper 40s. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte. Anything great out on the roadways?
Well, it's not so great unless you're talking about great big delays on the northbound tri-state. Amy, it is jammed from past Southwest Highway to before Ogden Avenue. There was a spool of electrical wire on the roadway. That's been moved to the left shoulder, but there's still wood debris across the lanes. This is northbound 294 before Ogden. It's a big backup. Northbound I-65 is slow from 93rd Avenue to US 30 with a crash on the right shoulder. The Edens is 24 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 30 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound the same. The Ike, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 33. Stevenson, 44 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Norfolk Southern Railroad planning more job cuts. The FTC is suing DeVry University, and Walmart closings may create so-called food deserts. Those stories next.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-431-0848. That's 1-800-431-0848. 1-800-431-0848. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Investors and markets reacting to reports on jobless claims and durable goods orders. About 2,000 jobs to be cut by Norfolk Southern Railroad following word fourth quarter profits fell nearly 30%. The company trying to fend off a takeover bid by rival Canadian Pacific. Recently announced closings of 150 Walmart stores nationwide could create so-called food deserts in 3 states. An Associated Press survey says the closings could leave some communities in Alabama, Kansas, and Arkansas without supermarkets. The Federal Trade Commission suing DeVry University for allegedly misleading consumers about student jobs and earning prospects, including claims that 90% of its graduates landed jobs in 90 days. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, do you know my friend Laz Coulchar from Automated Systems, who sponsored and spoke at Freedom Summit and wowed the crowd with his story of escaping communism, coming to the U.S. and building a successful software and systems integration company? Here's Laz Coulchar to explain.
Thanks, Joe. I built my company to deliver solutions for industry's toughest automation challenges by giving clients customized solutions to make production lines, facilities, and plants run with less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. Our systems provide reliability and deep insight into our clients' manufacturing operations for companies of all sizes, from Fortune 500 life science to successful startups.
Thanks, Laz. If you even suspect that Automated Systems could benefit your company, then call him. There's no obligation. Call Laz at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
I've been taking it, and I'm actually feeling better. I know that I'm not coughing anymore, and I was coughing all the time.
I notice my body feels better.
I have diabetes. I had my blood work done, and I had really good numbers.
I want to thank you for your product and all that. It's been great.
I got my kids taking them now. Got my parents taking them. My brothers, my best friend. Got everybody on them.
I love the product.
And I love Dr. Howard. I trust him. I feel safe. I think his product is superb. I'm going to continue with it.
Get started early on your New Year's resolution with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7853. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7853. That's 1-800-317-7853. 1-800-317-7853.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Where does our polluted political culture intersect with our totalitarian culture on college campuses? We'll ask Oklahoma Wesleyan President Dr. Everett Piper at 7:07.
And Ted Cruz's secret weapon, his wife. We'll hear from her, but first let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, CPS wants Barbara Bird Bennett to pay back millions. A Barrington gas leak is much worse than initially believed, and the Bulls may miss Mirotic for several games. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Rand Paul is looking forward to tonight.
Don't have to put up with Donald Trump.
Because Trump won't be at this Republican debate. Still angry at Fox and moderator Megyn Kelly.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to raise a lot of money for the vets. That's what we're going to do.
Holding his own event, Ted Cruz says
he doesn't want to answer questions from the men and women of Iowa about how his record doesn't match what he's selling.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Des Moines, Iowa.
Iowa voters have a lot on their minds when it comes to what they would like to hear the candidates address in tonight's debate.
National debt, terrorism, immigration.
Now, many also tell me they're hoping the other candidates have a chance to get their message out about where they stand on those issues, and a debate without Donald Trump may give them that chance. Now, another big topic, agriculture and trade agreements. Those are two things that affect a lot of people here in the heartland, Dave.
Tanya Damon Bundy, now in jail over his standoff in Oregon, is telling his followers to go home.
To those remaining at the refuge, I love you.
That's Bundy's attorney reading his statement, urging the FBI to let them leave without being arrested. 3 others were taken into custody the day after a traffic stop ended Bundy's land rights protest. 1 person in the car was shot and killed. Fearing the Zika virus could be a pandemic of alarming proportions, the World Health Organization will convene an emergency meeting Monday. The Zika virus is spread by mosquito, and pregnant women are most at risk, linked to thousands of birth defects in Brazil. Babies born with shrunken heads. It's spread to 20 other countries with a few U.S. cases. 30 years ago today, America was stunned watching a space shuttle launch.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation.
Obviously a major malfunction.
Challenger exploded shortly after liftoff, killing all 7 on board, including schoolteacher Krista McAuliffe. Her son and other astronauts' relatives will be at a NASA ceremony today at Kennedy Space Center. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This morning we have mostly cloudy skies, but we should see clearing throughout the morning. Winds out of the south at 13, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Judge expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hasterd's lawyers to delay a February 29th sentencing in his hush money case. Hasterd entered a hospital in November after pleading guilty to breaking banking laws. He left the hospital a couple of weeks ago. Chicago public school officials have decided to delay $875 million in planned borrowing as investors consider whether to bet on the cash-strapped district's bonds. CPS is rated 3 levels below junk status by all 3 major rating agencies. Republican Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner used his second State of the State address to call for bipartisan cooperation for the sake of the state's economy. AM 560's David Stewart has his review.
Governor Rauner held out an olive branch, but then used it to whip unions, especially AFSCME, whose contract demands Rauner called out of touch.
We already have the highest paid state employees in America.
Afterward, Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan chastised Rauner for not mentioning the continuing budget crisis.
Very interesting that the governor would come before a joint session of the General Assembly speaking to the state of Illinois and decline to comment that we don't have a full budget.
Madigan also pointed out that the successes Rauner mentioned came about when Rauner dropped his anti-union agenda. David Stewart, Chicago.
A gas leak from a Barrington gas station that flowed into a village sewer system is worse than first initially determined. Crews have pumped close to 6,000 gallons of fuel and water from in and around a mobile gas station at Northwest Highway in East Main. Chicago Public Schools top official wants its former CEO to reimburse the financially strapped school district close to $10 million. Barbara Bird Bennett pleaded guilty in her part in a scheme to steer a $23 million no-bid contract to firms in exchange for bribes and kickbacks. Now Forrest Claypool wants to use state law to go after Bennett for triple the amount paid her. Chicago sports. College hoops last night. Butler beat DePaul. Northern Iowa over Bradley, and Wichita State topped Loyola. The news service of Whole Foods Market. Save today at your local Whole Foods Market. Organic whole trade bell peppers, $2.99 per pound. And get 5 avocados for just $5. Visit Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This election season, only one station in Chicago has carried every single Republican presidential debate live. And that station is this one. Tonight, the Republican candidates will debate again, beginning at 8 p.m., right after the Joe Walsh Show.
Apparently, Megyn Kelly is really, really scared.
I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly. I think she's a third-rate reporter.
The only place to hear the debate in Chicago.
These debates are important.
Is right here.
King Kong versus Godzilla.
On AM 560. The Answer.
When flipping houses, there's one golden rule. Cash talks. I'm going to show you how you can easily get $10,000 plus all the cash you'll ever need for free. I'm Andrew Holmes, popular radio show host and founder of Chicago's #1 flipping team. And I've flipped over 600 houses in Chicago right under your nose. And now I'm going to show you how. I'm holding a free seminar right here in the Chicagoland area where I'll give a select few the opportunity to use my funding to flip houses and net up to $40,000 per deal without spending a dime of your own money. You don't need good credit and you don't need any of your own money. If the deal is good, you'll get the funds. The first 100 people to call 844-MONEY40 and register will receive my Blueprint to Real Estate Wealth System for free. All you have to do is find a great deal and pass it on to me, and I'll give you $10,000. Time is running out. Seating is very limited. Call 844-MONEY40. That's 844-MONEY40.
Paid for by Bonner & Partners, an independent research firm.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
I've posted a free video that details everything you need to know at $disaster8.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. Just go to $disaster8.com. That's $disaster8.com.
7:07 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest on the roads with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state is jammed. From Southwest Highway to before Ogden, there's wood debris across the roadway. There was some electrical wire that's moved to the left shoulder. Eastbound Adams Tollway a little slow from Roselle Road to 53. Reagan Tollway, Veterans Memorial Finley. Veterans Memorial slow 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. The Edens, 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 20. Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 30. The Eisenhower, 48 minutes. Thorndale to downtown outbound 33. Stevenson now 52 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. 40 from the tri-state. Outbound it's fine. The Rhine is 22 minutes. 95 to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. AirComfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy and breezy with a couple of snow showers for the afternoon, high 40. Tonight, partly cloudy and colder, low 19. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 33. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 30 degrees at O'Hare, clearing skies. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And despite no budget deal, Governor Bruce Rauner made his case today in his second State of the State address. Changes, he says, that will make the state more competitive.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says he believes he will win if voter turnout is high. CNN's latest poll of polls out today shows Senator Sanders and Hillary Clinton locked in a virtual dead heat.
After 5 minutes of bashing Donald Trump for being there, what do you think the rest of the candidates are going to do? Are they going to continue to go after Donald Trump? Or are they going to start piling on Ted Cruz? And who benefits more from that? Donald Trump. This could end up being a very shrewd move by the front.
All right. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? This programming note. The McHenry County Republican Party is holding its annual Lincoln Leadership Dinner on February 6th at the Crystal Lake Holiday Inn. Speakers include retired NFL star Jim RoboCop Thornton. Remember him, Amy? RoboCop?
Yes, I do remember him.
How do you remember him?
I don't.
Fondly? Is this? Do you have like another Edward James Olmos story here?
Oh, no. Anywho, yes, where is he going to be?
RoboCop Thornton, who also is a leadership specialist with 20-plus years in U.S. Special Forces, McHenry County Republican Party. Space is limited, so purchase your tickets today. Visit 560theanswer.com and search the keyword Lincoln.
I think you speak at more Lincoln Day dinners than anybody I know.
I'm a better speaker.
Well, how many have you done?
I've
30. Now we're back on it again.
I've lost count.
Okay.
I've done many, and they're always a ton of fun. And
Good.
but this will be much more fun to hear from Thornton than hear from me. So Amy, we as we talk about what's happening on college campuses around the country, we eliminate the schools that Peyton and Eli, your two sons, can potentially attend. I have
my list.
I think we've basically eliminated about 80% of the colleges, universities in the country at this point.
32 on the list.
Yeah. One of the schools they may still attend is Oklahoma Wesleyan University. Okay. That is an evangelical Christian university. The president of that university came to a bit of national attention in the midst of all of the nonsense, the totalitarianism on college campuses, the lack of respect for intellectual diversity, for differences of opinion. When he wrote a piece that essentially explained why a university is not a daycare center, in part, Dr. Everett Piper, the president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University, wrote, at his school, we teach you to be selfless rather than self-centered. We are more interested in your practicing personal forgiveness than political revenge. We want you to model interpersonal reconciliation rather than foment personal conflict. But Oklahoma Wesleyan is not a safe place. It's a place to learn that life isn't about you but about others, that the bad feeling you have while listening to a sermon is called guilt, that the way to address it is to repent. This is a place where you will learn quickly that you need to grow up. This is not a daycare. This is a university. Maybe you should audit some classes at Oklahoma Wesleyan University as well.
There you go.
You could go with Peyton and Eli. All right, so Dr. Everett Piper, the president of the aforesaid Oklahoma Wesleyan University, joins us now. Dr. Piper, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I'm pleased to join you.
So, I think he's a doctor, Dr. Jerry Falwell Jr. at Liberty University,
right,
invited Donald, also Evangelical Christian University, invited Donald Trump to speak there, and then did him one better by endorsing him. You have said Donald Trump will not be invited to speak at Oklahoma Wesleyan, and thereby you have no plans to endorse him. Why the difference of opinion with Jerry Falwell Jr., and what did you think about his decision?
Well, my explanation is really quite brief and quite simple. Anyone who has mocked the handicapped, anyone who has called women fat, ugly pigs, quote unquote, and worse, that I won't quote on the radio station right now, anyone who has endorsed the fiscal wisdom of the Obama administration, anybody who has praised Hillary Clinton's leadership prowess, anybody who's been on the cover of Playboy magazine and proud of it, I could go on, is not somebody who represents the ideals of Oklahoma Wesleyan University. And therefore, barring a debate, I would welcome him if he wants to come and debate his ideas with somebody else that disagrees with him. But to put him at the podium as if he's representing us and who we are as an institution would be unacceptable, because that would be to disregard our mission, to disregard those things we hold dear as a Christian community. And there's a time where you say, no, that's not who we are. No, you're not going to be at my podium and speak as if you represent Oklahoma Wesleyan University.
And then what about Falwell and the decision he made to invite him to Liberty to do just what you said you wouldn't do at Oklahoma Wesleyan, and then the decision to endorse?
Well, obviously, I disagree with that, and obviously I wouldn't endorse him, and I'm not endorsing him. Dr. Falwell has actually said that the reason he's endorsed him is because of his business savvy. He's run a successful business. And I understand that when we elect a president, we're electing a commander-in-chief. We're not electing a priest or a pastor. I understand that debate. However, I do think character matters, and character is important in leadership. And leadership does dictate the general tone and cadence, if you will, of the cultural conversation. So I disagree with that. The business said the reason that he's chosen him is because he runs a successful business. Well, let me ask this rhetorical question. If running a successful business is the predicate for being the president of the United States, why don't you endorse Hugh Hefner? He has run a successful business.
Yeah. Do you think possibly that Dr. Jerry Falwell Jr. received any donations or any promises of monetary donations in the future? Is that why he might have endorsed him?
You know, actually, I see no evidence of that. I know a lot of people that are angry with Dr. Falwell have suggested that. That's speculation, and I'm not going to go there. I don't know that there's any quid pro quo, and I really would be disappointed to find out that there is one, and I'm not going to suggest that there is unless somebody had evidence accordingly.
In the piece that you wrote about Donald Trump, you said, I refuse to let my desire to win Trump, nice little play on words there, my moral compass. I refuse to let my desire to win trump my moral compass. That's such an interesting statement because in our political culture, we love the horse race. You have the bandwagoning effect. Whoever wins, that's where we need to be because they're winning. And we don't often enough, ask the question, what do we win if we, quote unquote, win, right?
What do you win? If you saw off the branch upon which you're sitting, what are you going to win? You're going to fall down. You're going to become You're going to get hurt as you hit the ground as a result of sawing off the moral branch upon which you're sitting to make your argument. And if we believe in a constitutional republic, if we believe in a free people, if we believe in the values and virtues that have made this nation the most prosperous and the most free nation in the history of human human history, which most anybody listening to me would have to admit that indeed the United States has enjoyed those gifts of providence. If we believe in those things, then we have to recognize we sit upon some branch that gives us that stability. And if victory is more important than that branch of virtue, you saw that branch off, you come tumbling down, and you're going to be in a very ugly place. It's very similar to my argument in my Not a Daycare piece. I don't care about your victimization card. What I care about is you learning virtue. And frankly, Republican Party, I don't care about victory if you're going to sell your soul and sell your virtue to have that power. Let me close with saying this. I used to be very critical and still am very critical of the feminist movement for selling its soul for the power of Bill Clinton. Of all the people the feminists should have been appalled with, it should have been a president who was having sex in the Oval Office with one of his interns and then being accused by other women of sexual advances, if not rape, and not being held accountable for those actions. Why did the feminists let that happen? It was pure and simple. Power. They wanted power. Conservatives can't make the same error by selling their soul for power and victory.
So you think we're selling our soul to the devil by supporting Donald Trump? Some of us.
I'm not saying you're selling your soul to the devil. You know, that's hyperbolic language that somebody else could say. So that's not my quote.
Yes,
what I am saying is this.
But I
what
agree
is
with
more
what
important?
you're saying, though. Yes.
What I'm saying is this: is your virtue more important than a victory? Is veritas, truth, Latin for truth, is veritas, truth, more important than winning and more important than the power that comes with the bully pulpit? There are times when you stand for what's right, and if you lose waving that banner, so be it. You lost doing the right thing. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said this: not to speak is to speak, and not to act is to act. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will not hold us guiltless. What happened to Bonhoeffer? He was hanged in a Nazi prison camp just before the end of World War II. Did he lose? I would argue no. For eternity, he won, but he was willing to lose his life for the sake of what was right.
Some by vice do rise and others by virtue fall. Dr. Everett Piper we're talking to. He is the president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University, an evangelical Christian university in Oklahoma, obviously. Dr. Piper, I got to get your take on college campuses. I mean, there's so many examples to discuss to underscore the intolerance on college campuses, the ignorance on college campuses. But one that bubbled up this week is perhaps really fascinating because you see the politically correct totalitarians annihilating themselves. And this is at University of Oregon, where student leaders, and I'm using that phrase in quotations, are debating whether or not to remove a portion of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech because it didn't contemplate gender identity. Your reaction?
The ideological fascism that is running rampant on our campuses versus the intellectual freedom that the Liberal Arts Academy has historically stood for. Let me answer your question this way. The Liberal Arts Academy was established some 1,000 years ago, let's say Oxford or Cambridge, to do what? To liberate us, to give us an education in liberty and freedom, to educate a free man, a free woman, and a free society. Thus the word liberal arts education. The classical liberal believed in freedom and justice, but it was grounded in what? The only word that's still on Oxford's shield is veritas, truth. Jesus said the truth shall set you free, not your personal opinion and not your politically correct agenda. Truth is the only context for freedom. And what you see at the University of Oregon and Missouri and Yale and elsewhere is ideological fascism where you must submit. You must think like I do. My opinion will crush you. You will be silenced if you disagree. Rather than the robust exchange for an idea that is grounded in the truth of Christ and the truth of Scripture, the revelation of God, rather than the personal opinion of Mao or Robespierre or Stalin or Chavez or Hitler or students or faculty or me. I'm not going to give you a degree in opinions at Oklahoma Wesleyan University. I want you to learn something that's right and just and true when you graduate.
Dr. Everett Piper, president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University.
I love you, and I agree with everything that you said about Donald Trump.
Look
I do.
for.
We pray for him in church, by the way.
There's a couple of Jacobson boys that are going to be matriculating at your university in a few short years, so look for them. Watch over them, please. Dr. Everett Piper, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Blessings, guys.
Tonight at 8, the Republican candidates debate the issues. Tomorrow morning, you debate which candidate won with Dan and Amy starting at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, peaks of some sunshine, but we do have brief snow showers flying through here, moving through here, speak English. This afternoon, a high of 39 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny skies, a high of 34. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, well, don't send Peyton, Eli, or Archie Manning to the northbound tri-state. It's awful from around 115th Street to before Ogden Avenue. There was a spill there. There was a spool of electrical wire on the left shoulder. There's wood all over the place. It's a big delay, and it's also jamming up the inbound Stevenson, especially that ramp to northbound 294. Delays start on northbound I-55 around 83. And as usual, it's very slow Harlem to Kedzie, so it's 55 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Edens is 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Kennedy, now 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 30. The Eisenhower, 49 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 33. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 23 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford, 33. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Hey, I know you've been thinking about it, maybe even picturing yourself with a beverage on the beach in Cabo enjoying the sun and surf. Well, stop thinking about it and start doing something about it. Time is almost up to purchase your trip to Escape to Cabo with us, Dan and Amy. The special price secured just for us by Apple Vacations expires tomorrow. After that, the price will go up and availability will be limited. So go to our website, 560theanswer.com, search for the keyword escape and book your trip today. Do it now. This is a great, well-appointed resort, 5-star resort, adults only, all-inclusive. It's got the 2 sparkling pools, pristine beaches, and adjacent to the resort, 2 nine-hole golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus and Greg Norman. You know the drill. Visit 560theanswer.com, hit the keyword escape, and also enter for a chance to win a trip for 2 to Cabo. Download our AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Click on the Enter to Win banner, and good luck. The winner will be announced on Monday.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551. 8551.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
I got to tell you, that last guest we had, Dr. Everett Piper, I agree with him 100% about Donald Trump. But I would also say this, too. Donald Trump is a big bully, and he's everything that I'm teaching my boys not to be. It's everything that you...
Except a billionaire.
Yeah, well, yeah, but at school, they teach you not to be a bully. If you go into any Chicago public school or any suburban elementary school, there's signs up saying, stop bullying, stop bullying. And that's what Donald Trump lives on. That's how he operates. I mean, he's bullying Megyn Kelly. I'm not going to call her a bimbo, but she's incompetent. You know, she's
I don't know if he's
incompetent. I mean, yes, he is. He called her a loser
Well,
on Twitter. I mean, come on. He's a big bully.
I cherish women.
No, he doesn't.
You just heard me, Cherish.
Yeah.
Did you see Black Mass about Whitey Bulger? The movie Black Mass?
Oh, sure.
No, but
God, I got to put that on the list, too.
You haven't seen Godfather, so of
Black
course you haven't
Mass?
seen Black
That
Mass.
is nonsense.
You know who Whitey Bulger was? He was the
Yes,
Boston mobster.
I understand who
Right.
Whitey Bulger is.
So in the movie, he's at the kitchen table with his son. His son got in a fight at school, and he got in trouble. And Whitey Bulger's admonition to him was that the mistake he made was punching this kid with witnesses around. The punching the kid was right. It was doing it in front of other people. That's the lesson.
Oh,
so you can
okay.
go around punching and bullying people. Just make sure that you don't do it in front of witnesses.
Oh, I get it. And then tonight,
Just for your consideration.
I know, but and then tonight, skipping out on the debate, saying that he's going to raise money for veterans. Has he ever raised money for veterans on the campaign trail yet? No. And then think about what he said about John McCain. He's not a hero. He was captured. I think he's using veterans as a political pawn.
All right, let's go to Dave in Ingleside. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, that was the most pathetic interview I've ever seen, ever heard. I'm a born-again Christian, and I find it absolutely beneath contempt that this pastor or religious person, whoever he says he is, would jump into the campaign now with a ridiculous attack on Donald Trump. What did he say 2 or 3 weeks ago when the Republican Congress voted to fund Planned Parenthood? I guess he wasn't moved to write an article about that. Where has he been for the past 8 years while Obama has trashed this country from top to bottom and made this place an unsafe country for Christians?
Yeah, Dave,
when has he stood up for Christianity? You two are the most pathetic.
All right, Dave. Thanks for the call. Boy, that's...
I'll pray for you, Dave.
Yes, he's going to need it. Phil on the Northwest side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, you're completely wrong. Trump is right for what he's doing. The last caller's kind of right, too. And, Dan, thank God you're back. For a minute, I thought it was progressive radio.
Thanks for the call, Phil. In terms of Dave, I mean, this is the false comparison of some Trump supporters, like overheated Dave from Ingleside, which is, did Dr. Piper defending the Republican Party? No. Was Dr. Piper defending Obama? No. They're opponents to all the things he believes as well. It's this false. It's either Trump or Obama. No, it's not. It's either Trump or other potential candidates that are running. And is there a standard of conduct by which we hold all candidates in both parties? I think that was the point that Dr. Piper was making.
As usual, Amy, you're on the wrong side of everything.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com has pulled the trigger to bring you classes for Illinois gun owners. Take advantage of a new Illinois concealed carry class from Safer USA. Dave Lombardo, class instructor, offering his concealed carry 16-hour seminar for only $150. Now, this seminar is normally $300, It covers everything you need to know to protect you and your family with a concealed carry firearm for personal protection or against a home invasion. Dave is a pro and also the host of the show On Target Radio. Get in a little range time as well with a 1-year range membership from the Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Winthrop Harbor. This is a premium gun range in Northeast Illinois, and a 1-year membership is only $149. That's a $350 value. Your range membership includes great discounts on products and services at the Outdoorsman Sports Shop. Find out all the details at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Also featuring great deals on many other lifestyle training classes. Find them all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk about what the governor had to say about education in his State of the State address yesterday with Miles Mendoza from One Chance, Illinois. That's at 7:37.
And it happened. Lieutenant Glinowitz's wife has finally been indicted. We'll have Lieutenant Detective Chris Cavelli on at 7:47. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 32 degrees, clouds and sunshine. And American scientists this morning want to take immediate action against the Zika virus. Scientists writing in the Journal of the American Medical Association say the Zika virus has the potential to become an explosive pandemic. An investigation continues into a murder-suicide uncovered late yesterday that left 6 dead. Police in Chesapeake, Virginia went to a home Wednesday for a welfare check, found a dead body. Clues there led to a nearby home where an armed man was barricaded inside. After an hours-long standoff, 5 more bodies were discovered inside that building, including the suspect. A teenager this morning is accused of planning terror attacks on police in Australia. The 19-year-old allegedly plotted to pack kangaroos with explosives and set them loose on the suburbs and police. The man denied the charges during a court appearance today in Melbourne. Hundreds of guns, badges, credentials, and cell phones are missing from the Department of Homeland Security. To this day, more than 160 firearms have been lost or stolen over the past 2.5 years. Donald Trump going head-to-head with Fox News tonight, speaking about his event to rival the GOP debate on Fox News.
Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock at Drake University, we're going to have a tremendous event, and I'll have much more than 60 seconds, frankly, and we're going to raise a lot of money for the veterans. A lot of money is going to be raised. A lot of people are going to be there, and I can do some good.
With or without Trump, the Fox News debate airs right here on AM 560 tonight, following Joe Walsh at 8 p.m. A judge in Chicago expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29 sentencing in his hush money case. Chicago public school officials have decided to delay $875 million in planned borrowing as investors consider whether to bet on the cash-strapped district's bonds. And attorneys for the wife of a Northern Illinois police officer who killed himself after being found embezzling from a youth program is denying charges she took part in that scheme. A Lake County grand jury indictment was handed down Wednesday saying that Melody Glinowitz was not a victim of her husband's secret actions. Christopher Cavelli says Glinowitz and her husband used money from the police department Youth Explorer program for their own personal use. Chicago sports, Bulls expect forward Nikola Mirotic to be sidelined until after the All-Star break after an appendectomy. Meantime, the Bulls are at the L.A. Lakers tonight. The news service of the Patient Innovation Center. Time is running out. The federal deadline to enroll for health insurance is this weekend. Patient Innovation Center is hosting a free late-night enrollment event across the state. To help you sign up and avoid a big fine, visit pickcares.com. That's PICcares.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
It's over there on that piece of paper.
The Joe Walsh Show.
The guy doesn't give a damn about the Second Amendment. He can't even say the word Constitution. He can't even say it's right there in the Bill of Rights. It's right there in the United States Constitution. This son of a gun can't even say that.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
And a major meteor collision could hit within the next 4 billion years.
Lucky we have homeowners insurance.
What?
If a meteor hit our home, we'd be covered.
But homeowners insurance isn't helping us with our busted furnace.
No.
And it won't help get the plumbing fixed, or our refrigerator, or the oven, or anything else that happens to break down. That's why we need a home warranty.
Homeowners insurance can cover things that might happen, like a meteor destroying your home. But a home warranty from American Home Shield helps protect your budget against what will happen. Component breakdowns of up to 21 major home systems and appliances, like your heating, plumbing, refrigerator. For valuable free information, go to ahs.com or call 1-800-900-4317.
The odds of a meteor destroying your home are 180 trillion to 1.
To protect your budget against home appliance breakdowns, get an American Home Shield home warranty. For free information, go to ahs.com or call 1-800-900-4317. 1-800-900-4317.
I just took Balance of Nature for the first time. You guys are awesome. God bless you.
I have CIDP. It's helped me with my balance. It's helped clear up my skin condition.
I honestly did notice a difference. That's why I reordered it.
I feel good. I really just feel good. Everything has changed. I just feel so much better.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this product works. It's helped me as far as my overall health. I even recommended it to my mother, and she's been taking it, and she's 89 years old.
Get started early on your New Year's resolution with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
7:38 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center with the very latest. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state is jammed from Cicero
I'm convinced there is a way we can build the
southbound
economic
tri-state
growth
tollway
of
to the
states
north. We see heavy
like
traffic
Texas,
from 120 to 137.
with the heart and
Eden's
compassion
inbound,
of
24
states
minutes.
like
Lakewood to
Massachusetts.
Montrose outbound 25 at Kennedy. Now 54 minutes.
Now,
here to
we all know,
downtown,
all of
outbound
us,
30.
all of us in this
Eisenhower,
chamber
56
had a
minutes.
difficult year
Thorndale to
together
Duluth,
in
outbound
2015.
36.
As
Stevenson
we
an hour and 4
debated
minutes.
a budget
355 to Lakeshore
with
Drive, outbound 38
structural
minutes.
reform.
Ryan is 30 minutes.
But it's
90
not too
to
late for this
downtown.
General Assembly to make
Traffic
historic
service
progress
Jewel Osco.
for the people of Illinois.
Set to score 4 and save more at Jewel Osco. Mix, match, and save $4 instantly when you buy 4 selected products, including Oscar Mayer bacon, Kraft cheese, Gatorade, and more. And there's no limit on the ways you save. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, breezy, couple of afternoon snow showers, high 39. Right now we have clouds and sun and 32. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Frank O. Carlson, the sign company's partner. They help you make more money. Go to mysignpartner.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. So, Governor Rauner's State of the State address yesterday, he said, the single most important thing we do together as a community is to educate our young people, and the last portion of his speech was dedicated to K through 12 education. I mean, really K through university education, but a focus on K through 12. And he offered 10 long-term goals to improve the quality of primary and secondary education in Illinois. So let's talk a little bit about that with our next guest. He is Miles Mendoza. He's the executive director of One Chance Illinois, which is a school choice advocacy organization. Miles, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan.
So your reaction to what the governor had to say about the issue that drives you every day, which is improving the quality of K through 12 or pre-K through 12 education in Illinois.
I was very optimistic about his speech. I thought it was a pragmatic approach. We listened to the entirety of the speech, and it certainly had a tone of trying to become feasible, create some policies that they can find alignment on both sides of the aisle, which is the work that we do every day.
there were 2 points in those 10 bullet points that you just mentioned that I thought stuck out. One was trying to provide more high-quality options to disadvantaged kids or low-income children. We have a policy out there that we think that there's some alignment, again, on both sides of the aisle, and we're glad to hear his support. And then the idea of trying to create more workforce readiness among teenagers and working with community colleges. So trying to look outside of the traditional brick-and-mortar K-12 high school on how to actually get kids prepared to go to work. So we think these are 2 feasible ideas, and they really stuck out for us here at One Chance Illinois.
On the first one, the first point that you said stuck out, the governor's support programs that create more quality school choice options for low-income children stuck in failing schools. You said you have a policy out there that has substantial bipartisan support. What's that proposal?
So we have an initiative. It's called the Illinois Kids Campaign. You can find more about it at IllinoisKidsCampaign.org. And basically what we've done is we've been working on both sides of the aisle to try to create a balanced deal that will allow everybody to prosper. I think when we look at school choice throughout history, you find there's basically 3 groups. There are school choice purists, there are school choice nannies, and there are school choice realists. And the school choice purists may want something closer to a voucher, which is taking the money away from the current public school allocation and giving that to parents to go where they choose. Now, that is definitely a great option for a lot of parents to be able to do that, but the local school districts can't afford to lose that money. The school choice nannies, they might call it school choice, but it's actually not. They're not giving autonomy to schools, and they're not really empowering parents. So we've developed a school choice reality bill. And rather than taking the money away from the traditional district, what it's doing is we're providing a fund in the form of tax credits that will allow scholarship granting organizations, groups like Big Shoulders, to increase the number of scholarships that they offer to disadvantaged students. So in essence, it's achieving the same school choice goals, but it's done in a way that's palatable to both Democrats and Republicans.
So currently in CPS, if your child goes to a low-performing school and you want to get them out of there, what choice do you have?
So you do have some options in Chicago public schools, but the options oftentimes are difficult. I recently came across a student who was traveling an hour and a half to get into his magnet school. So he was a student that was excelling in his environment, was able to get into a magnet school, but in order to do that, he had to travel an hour and a half. As one of the top-tier students, in his travels, he found himself encountered by gangs and danger, and he went out and bought a gun. Because he carried this gun to keep himself safe, at some point at the school of his destination, he was caught and he was expelled. So along that pathway, this student passed several high-performing private schools that he just couldn't afford. So while CPS is doing its best to try to create options, they're limited. They're only within that publicly funded system. So what we want to do is say, listen, even though academics should be a high priority, issues of safety also are important too. And so for this student, we need to provide every high-quality option he has, not only to provide him the academics to succeed, but to provide him the safety that he needs today.
And since you're a school choice realist and with the balance of power in Springfield, you mentioned that the proposal you just outlined has bipartisan support. We've been talking about reform issues like this in Chicago and really Illinois statewide for a long, long time with the supermajorities of Democrats and a Republican governor. Is this something that people should pay attention to, that it is actually possible, even if there is substantial disagreements between the legislative leaders and the governor on other matters?
Yeah, and, that's the goal, again, of One Chance Illinois. It's all about creating pragmatic, feasible policies. So the Illinois Kids Campaign, we do think has hope. I think it is something that people should pay attention to. The big question is, in an election year before primaries or even before the general election, can these types of votes take place? That's a big question because there are compromises that have to be made in order to bring these deals together. And so we have that concern as well. So we're doing our best to try to make those things happen before primaries or before general elections. But, we're concerned like the rest of the state.
And I should note, Amy's a little bit quiet because she found out that your children go to Nettlehorse. Which is a CPS school, it's a local school.
But we lost our last game of the season to you by 1 point, and we really won that game in 5th and 6th grade girls basketball.
Yeah, so
just watch out next year, okay?
She's filed a complaint with the league office about that game. So I just want to put you on notice. I don't know if
I'm on notice.
Yeah,
I have video, okay?
All right, he is
my own body camera.
Miles Mendoza, executive director of One Chance Illinois, onechanceillinois.org. Miles, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan, very much.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Only one station in Chicago is carrying the Fox News Republican presidential debate tonight. That station is this one. Your election headquarters is AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, the case of Melanie Glenowitz. She was indicted yesterday, but now she's claiming she's the victim. We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. Sunshine right now, a few high clouds. We can't rule out an afternoon snow shower, high of 39 degrees. Then tomorrow, clouds and sunshine, a high of 34. Let's see if there's any relief on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Not a lot, Amy, on the northbound tri-state. It's been really messy this morning. We see heavy delays on 294 from Cicero Avenue to before Ogden, where there was some debris across the roadway. Lanes are open right now, but it's a heavy delay. Southbound, the north end of the tri-state, we see some slow traffic in the Gurnee area from 120 to 137. Northbound Veterans Memorial, it's jammed from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Edens is running 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. On Kennedy, with delay starting at Cumberland. 54 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save 10, outbound 30 minutes. The Eisenhower is now 59 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 39. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. Orion, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I'm amazed. I want to say thank you to Balance of Nature. You guys are awesome. God bless you. The reason I have so much enthusiasm is because I speak as a person who has investigated the things that are out there. What I see is that there's many, many people telling the same story, and it's ruining it for the people who really are true. Up until this point, I had a lot of doubt whether I have an instinct that there should be something you can spend some money on and get something good, and I hadn't found it, and I believe I have found it this time. So, again, awesome, and thank you.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the closer they get to you. John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm can help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you call John DeWatt. This is an attorney who is willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He has worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Let the hunters become the hunted. Let John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm deal with the IRS personally. Call John for your own relief plan. 888-777-4193 or online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
If you could choose any school from which to earn your college degree and be on your way to a better life, would you choose a school the Wall Street Journal recognized for producing some of the best qualified graduates? One the Princeton Review ranked as a leader in undergraduate education? And one U.S. News & World Report named #1 in the nation for innovation ahead of both MIT and Stanford? Discover why Arizona State University is a clear choice for your future. In addition, ASU Online offers over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs you can take 100% online and on your schedule. You'll receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as our on-campus students. For information, call 1-800-720-2358. U.S. News & World Report also ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So get started today and learn to thrive with Arizona State University online. Call today at 1-800-720-2358. That's 1-800-720-2358.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So the saga continues. Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz, Fox Lake, looted a youth police group he led and used the money to pay for porn, a luxury trip to Hawaii, and restaurant meals before he killed himself last fall. Now...
And staged it to look like...
Right, a murder.
A murder.
Right. Now his widow, Melody Glinowitz, has been indicted on 4 counts of dispersing charitable funds without authority and for personal benefit, and 2 counts of money laundering. For more on her indictment, we're now joined by our friend, Lake County Sheriff's Department Detective Chris Covelli. Detective Covelli, thanks for joining us again.
Good morning, guys.
So explain how you got from the death investigation that ultimately concluded, as Amy mentioned, a suicide staged to look like a murder by former Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz, to the indictment announced yesterday of Melody Glinowitz.
Certainly. I definitely don't think it was any secret that there were further investigations going on after the death investigation was concluded. And in essence, the Lake County Major Crime Task Force uncovered some serious inconsistencies in banking documents and banking records pursuant to the Police Explorer accounts, bank accounts, during their course of the investigation into the death of Lieutenant Glinowitz. So following the conclusion of the task force investigation, the Major Crime Task Force turned over all their documents, all their records to the Lake County Sheriff's Office on November 9th. And that was a significant amount of data to analyze. And what Sheriff Mark Curran and Under Sheriff Ray Rose did is they created a team of investigators who were assigned to do nothing but investigate these financial issues. And there was a lot to analyze, over 10,000 pages of financial records they had to sift through and go through and make sense of. In addition to that, they had to subpoena and request additional business and bank records. They interviewed several witnesses and people that may have knowledge of what was going on. And concluding their investigation and the evidence they uncovered, it became very apparent that Melody was responsible for a significant portion of this. And what the Lake County State's Attorney's Office did, they were very involved throughout the investigation, is they presented the facts and evidence yesterday to a Lake County grand jury. So following the testimony that the grand jury heard, they indicted Melody Glinowitz, the wife of Lieutenant Glinowitz, on, like you had mentioned, is the 4 counts of dispersing charitable funds without authority and 2 counts of money laundering. All of those are Class 2 and 3 felonies, which are very serious charges.
Well, they seem like partners in crime. I mean, siphoning money from this police Youth Explorers project, taking trips to Hawaii, 400 restaurant charges, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Fox Lake Theater. I mean, they use that money to live this lavish lifestyle, but yet her attorney's claiming that she was the victim here, that she had no idea where the money was coming from.
Right. And I'm a little limited what I can say because there's going to be court proceedings and court hearings and a lot of things that haven't been made publicly available because they haven't been said in open court. So I can't, some things I can't go into, but I think it's pretty clear here that as far as some of these personal transactions goes, like you said, the Starbucks, the Dunkin' Donuts, the movie theaters, the trip to Hawaii, over 400 visits to different restaurants to pay for food. I mean, that's certainly not appropriate to be coming out of a youth fund where money has been deposited to help the youth, not for personal gain.
Is this investigation still ongoing as it relates to other members of the Glinowitz family?
It's not, and that's a question that's come up a lot concerning the Lieutenant Glinowitz's son, DJ. And, investigators looked into that aspect of it, and it became evident to the investigators that he had no knowledge prior to that any money he may have received came from that Explorer account. So,
but yet he had a sham marriage with his father's mistress, Kathy Grams, and that's defrauding the government. I mean that's a federal charge, but still, you're telling me the case against him is closed?
Well, any financial case, the financial investigation is over
at the local level.
Exactly. Yes. Anything federal, that's obviously outside of our span of control. So that is handled completely by the federal government.
And quickly, we're running out of time here. All the people who donated money, the 100 Club, can they get that money back?
That's something that they're still looking into. And as far as criminal or civil, it's something that's going to be investigated, and some time is going to have to be spent to determine that.
Or maybe if she's convicted, restitution will be part of her sentence. All right.
She could go to jail.
Yeah, I think she will. That's my prediction. Lake County Sheriff's Department Detective Chris Covelli, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. Have a good day.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
How does economic inequality emerge in a free society? From a bunch of win-win transactions. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter books, she created something of value. A bunch of great stories that millions of people willingly and happily paid $20 a piece for. Now, what happened to inequality as a result? It grew. Rowling became a billionaire, while her fans saw their income stay the same and their wealth go down by a tiny amount, $20. Inequality grew, but everyone was better off as a result. That's the way inequality arises under freedom, and that's why it should. For more, see my book with Don Watkins, Equal is Unfair, America's Misguided Fight Against Income Inequality. Visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, or smoking. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. If lines are busy, try again. Dial 1-800-663-1490. That's 1-800-663-1490. 1-800-663-1490.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk a little POTUS politics with Carl Cannon from RealClearPolitics.com and get some color from Heidi Cruz, wife of Ted Cruz.
Yeah, she could be a secret weapon. And also breast milk jewelry coming to a store near you. We'll explain. But first, here's Mike Scott.
Here are the stories we're watching right now. Rauner speaks and sticks to his agenda. The FTC accuses DeVry of deceit. Barrington gas leak is much worse than originally believed, and the wood of a former Fox Lake police officer charged with money laundering. A cloudy, breezy day ahead with a couple of afternoon snow showers in the forecast with a high of 39. Weather after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump is standing firm.
We're going to go on forever with these debates. At some point, you got to start doing other things.
Angry at Fox? He'll be a no-show tonight.
Listen, I think it's a big mistake by Donald.
It'll give Chris Christie more airtime, but Ben Carson says...
I don't know that it helps anybody. It certainly doesn't help the American people.
Marco Rubio says the timing is big 4 days before the Iowa caucuses.
People literally make up their minds sometimes on the last day, and the debate will be a big part of it.
There will be 7 candidates in the primetime debate. 4 others will debate earlier. Both can be heard on many Fox News radio stations. As the Zika virus spreads, the World Health Organization is getting worried. Fox's Simon Owen is live in our European bureau.
Dave, this is the virus that's carried by mosquitoes and is suspected of causing babies in Brazil to be born with small heads. At the World Health Organization in Switzerland, Director General Dr. Margaret Chen saying those suspected links
have rapidly changed the risk profile of Zika.
from a mild threat to one of alarming proportions.
Dr. Chen calling an emergency meeting for Monday. Dave?
Simon, the protest leader Ammon Bundy has a message from jail for those still holed up at the Oregon Wildlife Refuge.
Please stand down.
His attorney reading a statement telling the others to go home, urging the FBI not to arrest them. 3 more were taken into custody last night. Bundy was arrested at a traffic stop Tuesday where shots were fired and their land rights protest spokesman was killed. A mystery in the sky. An American Airlines flight from London to Los Angeles yesterday had to turn around when flight attendants started passing out.
7 of the 13 flight attendants on board had either passed out or were too sick to fulfill their duties.
Neil Barrow was a passenger on the plane. Crews investigating found no evidence of hazardous substances, and the 6 patients who complained of not being well were examined and then discharged. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Clouds and sun, 32 degrees. Watch out for the winds out of the west at 13. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. On AM 560, The Answer, a judge expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29th sentencing in his hush money case. Hastert entered a hospital in November and left a couple of weeks ago. Chicago public school officials have decided to delay $875 million in planned borrowing as investors consider whether to bet on the cash-strapped district's bonds. CPS is rated 3 levels below junk status by all 3 major rating agencies. House Speaker Mike Madigan says he's open to considering new pension overhauls and is anxious to see that legislation. In his State of the State address, Governor Bruce Rauner also called for some constitutional change to eliminate 2 key sources of entrenched political power. We get the update from AM 560's David Stewart.
Governor Rauner said term limits and redistricting reform would restore trust in government.
We pay for this trust deficit in lost economic growth.
So he called for a vote to put term limits on the ballot.
This is the year to make that happen.
And a vote to change the way legislative district lines are drawn.
The only reasons not to do this are pure partisan politics and a desire to cling to power.
Each would require a change in the state constitution. David Stewart, Chicago.
A flu bug has hit some parts of the Cook County Jail. The sheriff's office says 3 living units are under isolation. Western Illinois University is firing 30 faculty members as that school tries to cut costs while it waits for long overdue state funding. And the Federal Trade Commission is suing Downers Grove-based DeVry University, claiming the company deceives students about their chances of finding jobs. Chicago sports, college hoops. Butler beat DePaul. Northern Iowa over Bradley, and Wichita State top Loyola. The news, a service of the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer, the top choice of doctors, nurses, and other health professionals nationwide. Now it can be yours, too. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. Get yours at Walgreens and other fine retailers today. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Turnkey.pro. From the Fox Business Network, here's Lillian Wu.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks under pressure internationally, European markets down. In Asia, the Shanghai Composite losing nearly 3% and the Nikkei lower ahead of a Bank of Japan meeting tomorrow. Facebook stock rallying in the pre-market as the social networking company smashed Wall Street expectations for both revenue and earnings in the fourth quarter. Company pulling in 79 cents a share on $5.84 billion in revenue. Some sweet results for Hershey, the candy maker's fourth quarter earnings of more than $213 million, topping expectations. Ford's 2015 profit jumping to $7.4 billion last year as U.S. sales hit their highest level in a decade. And a possible setback for Netflix expansion in Asia. Indonesia's state-owned telecom company saying it blocked the internet video service. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
8:05 in Chicago, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This election season, only one station in Chicago has carried every single Republican presidential debate live. And that station is this one. Tonight, the Republican candidates will debate again, beginning at 8 p.m., right after the Joe Walsh Show.
Apparently, Megyn Kelly is really, really scary.
I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly. I think she's a third-rate reporter.
The only place to hear the debate in Chicago.
These debates are important.
Is right here.
King Kong versus Godzilla.
On AM 560. The Answer.
As a small business, PSG always outsourced our IT department. But a year ago, we made a change and partnered with Turnkey IT. I needed a company that understood the balance between having state-of-the-art technology for our employees and being able to control IT costs while investing in other areas. Partnering with Turnkey IT has been one of the best decisions we've made. Turnkey IT is a team of people. It's not just one guy that comes out when something breaks. They created a custom plan for the business. It all runs like a well-oiled machine. Having a plan and not just reacting to what breaks, really having a proactive strategy for making sure IT runs smoothly every day. Best of all, they still check in regularly enough to make sure everything's being delivered as promised. That's exactly what we wanted. Talk to David or one of the IT reps and get specifics about what exactly it is they'll deliver. They make sure we're happy and working efficiently so we can concentrate on our customers.
Make the switch to Turnkey IT. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Paid for by Bonner & Partners, an independent research firm. My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
I've posted a free video that details everything you need to know at $disaster8.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. Just go to $disaster8.com. That's $disaster8.com.
8:07 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state still has heavy delays from Cicero Avenue to around the Hinsdale Oasis. Some earlier debris near Ogden has finally cleared. Veterans Memorial has heavy delays this morning southbound. The Army Trail Toll to past Roosevelt. Northbound very slow from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Eden's 23 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Kennedy, 54 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. The Eisenhower's, an hour and 3 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, and 50 minutes from Manheim, outbound 43 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, slow Bryn Mawr to Belmont after a crash. Northbound from 18th to Jackson. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and breezy today with a couple of afternoon snow showers, high 40, partly cloudy night, low 19. Tomorrow, clouds and sun with a high 33 and a partly cloudy and breezy night with a low 30. Then clouds and sun for Saturday with a high 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
32, clouds and sun at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And despite no budget deal, Governor Bruce Rauner made his case today in his second State of the State address. Changes, he says, that will make the state more competitive.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says he believes he will win if voter turnout is high. CNN's latest poll of polls out today shows Senator Sanders and Hillary Clinton locked in a virtual dead heat.
After 5 minutes of bashing Donald Trump for being there, what do you think the rest of the candidates are going to do? Are they going to continue to go after Donald Trump? Or are they going to start piling on Ted Cruz? And who benefits more from that? Donald Trump. This could end up being a very shrewd move by the front.
All right. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and tonight, with or without Donald Trump, the Fox News Republican debate is happening. And the only radio station in town that's carrying the debate is this one, so make sure you tune in tonight beginning at 8 p.m., right after an extended edition of The Joe Walsh Show. Listen on your radio or your computer, or listen on your smartphone by downloading the AM560 mobile app. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to download our app. And then, Amy.
Yes.
Right after the debate, you'll be able to vote in the debate poll that we're having online. You can vote from the app. That poll opens tonight at 10 p.m. right after the debate. We'll run through tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., so make sure to join us tomorrow morning starting at 5 a.m. You won't be here. You'll be at your Tuscan villa.
Right.
But some of us will be working.
But I'm actually going to listen to the debate tonight on my AM560 mobile app.
There you go. And we'll break down the debate tomorrow at 5 a.m. as per usual. Now, Trump is on the debate, but Ted Cruz is. Will he take extended internecine fire with Donald Trump not there? Perhaps one of the secret weapons that Ted Cruz may have in Iowa and on the trail as the campaign moves on, though, is Heidi Cruz, who sat down for a rare interview yesterday.
Yeah, Dana Bash from CNN has been trying to interview her for a year now. Heidi Cruz taking a leave of absence from Goldman Sachs. She has her MBA from Harvard. She's a very smart woman. And she tried to portray a softer side of Ted Cruz and how they met. And, of course, when they met, it was love at first sight.
Okay, so let's talk about when you first met him. You were working on the George W. Bush campaign in 2000 in Texas, and so was he. And I've heard you say that it was love at first sight.
It was love at first sight. I remember being introduced to Ted and looking at him and thinking, of course, you always think, a first thought is, what is the person, what is your sense of them? How are they reacting to you? And Ted just seemed to be interesting. He was a good-looking guy. He greeted me with a smile. We started working together. And I found Ted incredibly compelling because he had this very unique combination of being the smartest person I'd ever met on substance, on explaining fundamentals, on articulating things, on writing them out, getting it done. But he also was the first guy to say, hey, let's take a break, go to a movie, let's have some fun. And it's very rare that you find someone who doesn't take himself too seriously, who has a great sense of humor and is really fun to be around.
Yeah, so he's not a nasty guy, and he can get along with other people.
All those qualities, and looks like Grandpa Munster, and still was able to attract a professional superstar like Heidi Cruz. Very, very nice.
But she's well-spoken, and I like her. He should use her more out in the campaign trail.
Heidi
because
Cruz,
I would be honored to have her as a first lady.
Heidi Cruz and Rafael Cruz, his father, those are some two pretty good surrogates. Let's get a little bit more robust analysis of what might happen tonight in the debate. Sans Trump with Carl Cannon, our friend from RealClearPolitics.com, Washington Bureau Chief. Carl, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Dan.
So Jake.
Hey, I got to say something
Oh,
though.
yes, please.
About Heidi Cruz.
Yeah.
What, Carl?
This guy.
Love at first sight.
Well, Ted Cruz is pretty much considered the least liked person in Washington, but if this woman is his wife, there must be something good about him, right?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
She's a class act and impressive. So, I think bringing her out, it makes sense.
If he is the most hated man in Washington, that also indicates there may be something very good about him.
He
Carl,
says that too.
So some people are saying, look, this is a brain stroke by Donald Trump to not participate. He's in the lead, and to the extent that he loses the caucus to Cruz, he'll have a built-in excuse about being attacked by Fox News and so on and so forth. And now most of the fire will be focused on Cruz to pull him back to the field rather than Donald Trump. Does that make sense to you?
Well, some of it does, Dan. If he loses this thing, he's got the lead. People are probably going to say it's because he skipped the last debate and it didn't play well with Iowans. Now, you and I know Trump supporters are pretty committed to this guy. They're not going to think, if you don't like Donald Trump, you say, oh, well, he's afraid of a woman. He showed he's a bully and a coward. If you like Trump, you say, well, no, he's not a coward. He stood up to Fox News, and that's a dominant news organization on the right. So it depends how you feel about him, whether you think this is a wise move. But the risk is what you said. If he loses now, people are going to look back and say, okay, he shouldn't have done that. I don't actually think it's going to be a big factor, but it leaves him open to second guessing.
So he's going to be, have his own simultaneous event at Drake University, a fundraiser for veterans and World Wounded Warriors. But do you think he's possibly using veterans as a political pawn. I mean, he's on his campaign trail. He's never had a fundraiser for veterans before.
Well, he's obviously using them as a political pawn, but I mean, it's a good cause, and and if somebody objects to this cause, they sound like they're insufficiently concerned with veterans. So I think if you're gonna skip this debate, Amy, it's hard to argue with. It's hard to say that it's not like he's doing something. He's not going bowling or something.
Or
he's
gambling.
Yeah, or gambling. Our friend Bill Bennett used to gamble. He's not.
Hey, we're not supposed to talk about that, Carl.
I see. Okay.
Who doesn't like a slot machine from time to time? Carl, in terms of the opportunity tonight, we're spending a lot of time talking about Cruz and Trump skipping the debate. Marco Rubio quietly inching up. I saw some polling data that shows him at 16%, particularly among likely caucus goers as people are trying to figure out what turnout's going to be. So there's still a lot of volatility that will resolve itself based on that turnout, where you may have a surprise. We've seen surprises in Iowa before with polling the results looking very different than polling just a few days out. Do you see this as still a Trump-Cruz contest, or is the possibility that you could have Rubio win or finish a very close second or third?
Look, I'm with you, Dan. I've learned not to make predictions about Iowa. Do you remember? I mean, this is like 4 years ago. It's not ancient history. 2 weeks. Tom Bevan has a story on our site today. He's another Chicago guy. He was out with Santorum yesterday in Iowa. He was also with Santorum 4 years ago, and 2 weeks before the Iowa caucuses, Santorum did an event cutting down a Christmas tree to decorate his headquarters in Iowa. 2 reporters came. Tom was one of them. I forget the other one. He was at 5% in the polls. He ended up winning, basically tying with Mitt Romney, 24.5%, and actually got a few more votes than Romney. So surprises in Iowa happen. If you figure out who the surprise candidate is, though, it's always the candidate who evangelical Christians break for late, because the turnout is all important. The pollsters ask people on the phone why we know likely voters. They tell you, are you going to vote in the caucus? Oh, yeah, I'm going to. But we know that about twice as many people say they're going to vote as actually show up. And these committed Christians, they do show up. And the committed conservatives, social conservatives, committed economic conservatives, the most committed people show up. And in Iowa in 2008 for Huckabee, 2012 for Rick Santorum, they broke for the guy that they thought shared their values.
Well, that's what's
so is that Cruz or is that Marco Rubio? Or
is it Trump? I mean, that's what's interesting about this.
Or is it Ben Carson? I mean, you start with
Marco Rubio.
Well, you have evangelicals, at least at the leadership level, committed to Cruz, and that certainly helped Cruz's surge. But then you have Trump supporters who, as we've observed, are particularly loyal to Trump, and they're animated, and that enthusiasm makes a difference. So very interesting. You may have a bit of an Obama effect, so to speak, where you have a higher caucus turnout than you might otherwise have previously experienced in Iowa.
I think that's a big possibility. And look, Donald Trump, he's not in this debate tonight, but he still is the joker in the deck, and I don't mean it in a pejorative way. We don't know how he figures. Is he polling really among people who are not Republican primary voters and maybe even non-voters? Yeah, we think so. But what if they become voters? It's not that hard to register to vote. And the other thing, Trump also polls higher, Dan and Amy, in Internet polls. And I have the best Internet pollster in the country I know of is John Della Volpe. He's a Democrat, but a very fair-minded guy. And I asked him, what does that mean about why does Trump poll higher in Internet polls? And he said one possibility is that Trump is not fashionable, yet, and people don't always want to tell a stranger on the phone that they're voting for Trump, but they will, in an Internet poll, they will answer the question that way. So there's also the possibility, on the other side, one possibility is that these are non-voters and they won't show up for Trump. The other is that his strength is even higher than it shows in the polls.
Carl Cannon, the Des Moines Register, endorsed Marco Rubio, and they've correctly picked the Republican nominee since 1996. Do you think he'll do better than people expect in the caucuses?
Well, look, Amy, they picked the nominee, but they don't always pick the winner of the caucus.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to win in Iowa. Iowa's not that great a determinant on the Republican side for who will eventually be the nominee. It is on the Democratic side, interestingly, not the Republican side. So, look, Rubio has to finish top 3 or 4 really in Iowa. Third would be better for him. But then his big thing is New Hampshire. If he can make headway, if he can start to close the gap between Trump and Cruz and himself in New Hampshire, I don't think Marco Rubio has to win Iowa or even finish second. If he finishes a strong third, you'll start to see the establishment Republican establishment say, hey, maybe we should coalesce around this guy.
On the other side, Hillary Clinton, is she having a bit of a meltdown? She said to Chris Cuomo yesterday about the emails and the private server, I'm not willing to say it was an error in judgment. Nothing I did was wrong, which runs contrary to what she said in September when she said, as I look back at it now, I should have used 2 accounts. That was a mistake. It was a mistake, but not an error. What's the difference, and what is Hillary trying to accomplish by reversing course?
Dan, I think, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong about this, but I think the Clintons are missing the mark on the email thing the same way they did on the Benghazi thing. It's not really a question, the specific details. It may be the FBI, but in the public's mind, it's not as, should this thing have been marked secret or top secret? Was the server, was she really not complying with the Public Presidential Records Act, or maybe she was? It's this. The Clintons have a trust problem. The American people think they don't tell the truth, and that they think they have one set of rules for themselves and another for the rest of us. So that's the big picture question. And I really think the Clintons ought to address the big picture issue instead of, trying to outsmart us with these, I almost said Clinton-esque answers, but, what's the meaning of, it depends on what the meaning of is, that kind of thing. That actually makes things worse for them.
Yeah, Clinton-esque has become a synonym for lying. You're right.
Well, or being too clever, misleading, or maybe technically telling the truth while not telling the larger truth. I mean in that way. So I think what she ought to do is take on the issue of her credibility and explain to people why they can trust her. Now, maybe that's a hard thing to do, but I think that's what's really going on with these questions about why Clinton is running neck and neck with a 74-year-old socialist. It ain't because it's right. Because.
Did you see him leaving the White House yesterday? He looked like a vacuum clean salesman.
Well, how about this? Somebody said it was only the second time Barack Obama met Sanders, which showed that Sanders was a backbencher in the Senate. But then again, so was Obama.
There you go. Carl Cannon, Washington Bureau Chief at RealClearPolitics.com. Thanks for joining us, Carl. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Catch the Republican debate tonight at 8. Then talk about it with Dan and Amy tomorrow morning from 5 to 9, only on AM 560. The Answer.
Mostly cloudy today. We can't rule out a couple afternoon snow showers, a high of 39 degrees. And tomorrow, a mixture of sun and clouds, a high of 34. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Northbound Tri-State still very slow. Cicero Avenue to around the Hinsdale Oasis after earlier some debris caused big delays. Veterans Memorial, stop and go southbound from the Army Trail Toll down to around Roosevelt. Northbound and very heavy from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. The Edens Expressway running 23 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy holding at 54 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, quicker in the Express, outbound 32 minutes. The Eisenhower, though, is an hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, an hour and 7 minutes from Manheim, outbound 43 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, there's a 10-minute delay approaching the Tri-State. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Now that the holidays are over, it's time to start thinking a little bit about yourself. And one way to treat yourself to something nice is to get a MyPillow. There are many of you who have procrastinated, but don't put it off any longer. MyPillow is a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels that's customized to your individual preference. And for the listeners here who use the promo code Amy, guess what? You'll still get 2 pillows for the price of 1. It's MyPillow's best offer, and it's so important to get a great night's sleep. Last night when my head hit my pillow, I was out like a light, slept 7 hours uninterrupted. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia. If you have allergies, it's great because you can throw it in the washer and dryer and it's good to go the next night. It's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For this 2-for-1 offer, just go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in that promo code, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 and tell them Amy sent you.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions conversations happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. So you get yourself one of those blood tests with all the poking and prodding. They're always looking for some kind of bad news. Most blood tests these days are very lacking, only screening you for the big, bad, and ugly diseases, with you never really getting the good news, or even knowing what to do with the not-so-good news. So let me tell you about our dirt-cheap comprehensive blood test. First of all, we'll be testing a wide variety of different health factors, and not just the ugly few. And then we're going to sit down with you and strategize with all the we learned from your blood test findings. And I promise that you're going to know more about what you can do to help improve your health using a more natural, common sense approach. And for over 33 years, we've been very successful at setting people free from their toxic medications. It's our dirt cheap, comprehensive blood test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855. Be sure to tune into Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
AM 560, The Answer.
So, Amy, there's a firestorm about a British TV movie about Michael Jackson, unfortunately entitled Beat It.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought we saved these stories for the 8:45 segment.
Right, exactly. Ralph Fiennes' younger brother, Joseph Fiennes, who's a white guy, is being cast as Michael Jackson. And, of course, that's leading to all the race identity types like D. Ray McKesson from Black Lives Matter.
Oh, that guy again?
To cry foul, right? I mean, who should be cast as Michael Jackson if not Joseph Fiennes? 312-642-5600 or 64636DA. Can text us.
I know. Who do you think?
I think Sammy Sosa, because he was a white guy for a while, too.
You stop it.
Right? No?
Good point. But Michael Jackson did say, because someone asked him, if there's a movie about you, who do you want to play you? And he said, well, not a white person.
How about Cate Blanchett? She played Bob Dylan. So why not Michael Jackson, too? This reminds me, I miss Chappelle's Show because I miss Paul Mooney, the comedian Paul Mooney. He had a great line. He's like, this was several years ago when these movies were up, but he's like, so let me get something straight. Tom Cruise is the Last Samurai, and Brad Pitt is the Mexican. I got an idea for a movie. How about The Last Black Person on Earth starring Tom Hanks?
Fans are mourning worldwide. On the streets of Paris, one man saying Jackson's music touched people of all ages and all backgrounds.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
Oh, yes. Guess what tomorrow is, Dan?
The last day to escape to Cabo?
No, the last day to register for a chance to win a trip for two to Cabo. You do that by downloading our AM 560 The Answer mobile app on your smartphone. Click on the Enter to Win banner, or you could buy your trip tomorrow. Simply go to 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. Our trip is presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates. We're heading to Los Cabos, Mexico, April 2nd through April 9th, Saturday to Saturday. And the price secured by us for us by our good friends at Apple Vacations expires tomorrow. So after that, the price will go up and availability will be limited. So order your trip today. Visit 560theanswer.com. Keyword escape. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Renegade Democrat legislator Ken Duncan, who is standing up to Mike Madigan, joins us at 8:38 to tell us whether or not he's going to be excommunicated from the party.
And then our favorite story, a mother's memento. Breast milk jewelry. Yes, it's hitting eBay today. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
34, clouds and sunshine. Republican presidential candidates gearing up for a debate tonight. Without Donald Trump, the GOP frontrunner plans to skip the debate on Fox News.
Not treated well by Fox. They came out with this ridiculous PR statement. It was like drawn up by a child, and it was a taunt. And I said, how much of this do you take? I have zero respect for Megyn Kelly. I don't think she's very good at what she does. I think she's highly overrated.
Trump, meantime, will be a few blocks away at Drake University, he says, holding an event to benefit veterans. Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie reacts to why Trump is skipping tonight.
Why is he picking on Megyn Kelly? I mean, why is he picking on Fox News? I don't understand that. It makes no sense. This guy's got more coverage on this network by a multiple of 5 or 6 than any of the rest of us. And he says he's being treated unfairly?
The New Jersey governor is joining the rest of the field on AM 560 tonight as we present the Fox-Google debate, beginning at 8 on The Answer, following the Joel Walsh Show. Walmart closing over 130 stores today as part of its plan to close down 154 in total across the country. The weeks-long occupation of an Oregon wildlife refuge may be nearing an end. 3 more protesters were arrested overnight as they approached a checkpoint manned by the FBI. A judge expected to rule on a request from Dennis Hastert's lawyers to delay a February 29 sentencing in his hush money case. House Speaker Mike Madigan says he's open to considering new pension overhauls and is anxious to see legislation. In his State of the State address, Republican Governor Bruce Rauner is backing a plan pushed by Democrat Senate President John Cullerton. It would give state workers and retirees a choice in retirement benefits. And during his opening statement in the trial of a former Illinois prosecutor accused of killing his wife on Valentine's Day 2006, the special prosecutor showed photos from the scene inside the home where the victim died. Curtis Lovelace has pleaded not guilty in the death of Corey Lovelace. Chicago sports, Bulls take on the Lakers later on tonight. Big Ten hoops, Michigan State at Northwestern, while Ohio State tangles with Illinois. The news, a service of Jewel Osco. Get set to score 4 and save more at Jewel Osco. Mix, match, and save $4 instantly when you buy 4 selected products, including Oscar Mayer bacon, Kraft cheese, Gatorade, and more. No limit on the ways you can save. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Snow days. Mike Gallagher doesn't take a snow day off.
Let's face it, all of this reflects the hype culture that we're in, the gloom and doom. Everything comes to the end of the world. Everything is a disaster. Everything is fatal. My take, yeah, it snowed. Now can we get on with it and get over it?
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
At Interstate Batteries, you'll find some of the longest-lasting automotive batteries in the business. You can find the Interstate Batteries dealer nearest you by visiting interstatebatteries.com today.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
When I started on this, I stopped my blood pressure and my cholesterol medicine. My blood pressure, after a week since then, has been normal, and my bad cholesterol dropped 27 points in 3 weeks, and my overall cholesterol dropped like 25 points. So I'm good. So I'm not taking anything.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
It is 8:36 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Eisenhower is really heavy delays. First, it's slow from 355 to around Addison Road. Then it's jammed Manheim to Western. An hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 43 minutes. Edens, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 19. The Kennedy, 48 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 32. Stevenson is an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound slow, Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. Northbound very slow from 31st to Jackson. Northbound tri-state delays are from Cicero to the Hinsdale Oasis and Ogden to 31st. Veterans Memorial stop and go southbound from the Army Trail Toll to around Roosevelt. Northbound from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, breezy. We may have some afternoon snow. High 39. Currently, clouds and sun 32. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by RadioPlumbingDeals.com. Have a plumbing problem? Get the best plumbers in Chicagoland and massive discounts at RadioPlumbingDeals.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so yesterday, after Governor Rauner's State of the State address, there was a lot of reaction from legislators, including Madigan. But there was also a press conference yesterday afternoon by someone I describe as a renegade.
Oh, he's out there. Yeah.
Democrat, Illinois State Rep. His name is Ken Duncan from Chicago.
Yeah, we spoke about him yesterday. Charles Thomas was on the air, and he said that he was going to have a big press conference at 3 o'clock.
And he did, and he showed up like he was preparing to climb Mount Everest.
I thought it was seen out of The Wild, the movie.
Yes, right. Into the Wild. A sleeping bag, backpack.
Canned goods.
Yeah, he's ready to camp out in Springfield until a budget's done, saying, and I'm quoting from Natasha Korecki, "We should not be held hostage to Michael Madigan's political shenanigans," said Representative Ken Duncan. He also said this, according to Scott Fornick over at the Sun-Times. Waiting for Mike Madigan is plantation mentality.
Ooh.
I like them. Those are fighting words. All right, let's talk to the source. He is State Representative Ken Duncan from Illinois' 5th District. Representative Duncan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So I don't understand. Where do you get off thinking that as a Democrat state legislator, you're allowed to think independently from Mike Madigan?
I know, right? What a concept. And that's the part of the problem with us. There's 71 of us here in the House of Representatives, and there is really there's no movement unless Mike Madigan greenlights it. There's no legislation that's moved. There's no negotiation. There's no plan unless one person tells us what the next steps are. So I just think he is a major part of the problems that we're having with the state in terms of our pension debt, in terms of sort of the sluggish economy, that we should be outpacing every state around us in terms of job growth. our schools should be well-funded. He's been here for 45 years. And here it is. We're in the 7th month with no budget merely because he doesn't want to talk to the governor. The Senate president is talking to the governor. If you're fighting in your house, someone leaves the toilet seat up or the cap off the toothpaste, you argue about it, but you resolve it. His thing is, and I've been here for 13 and a half years. I'm telling you what I see, what I understand. I've been on the plantation for quite some time, and I sit there and just now I'm scratching my head saying, "What the?"
Okay.
Listen.
So I understand your passion, and I hear it in your voice. So you're willing to sleep out in Madigan's office, and you slept there last night too. I mean, but this could go on for months. I mean, it's been 14 years really since we've had a complete balanced budget.
You are absolutely correct. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Now, me sleeping out in front of his office or inside his office does no one any good across the state unless other members are there, are here with us in Springfield. Mm-hmm. The fact is, we met for the first time in 28 days this year. Last year, after the regular session, special sessions, which were a joke or for political partisanship, we met maybe about 15, 16 times. Got nothing done. The speaker wants to go and maintain this stare-down contest with the governor. Two multimillionaires staring each other down saying, my way or the highway.
Well, let me ask you this, Representative Duncan. Mike Madigan was asked whether or not you should remain in the Democrat caucus in the House, and his response was, that's a good question. Let me be the first to put down the welcome carpet for you to come on over to the Republican side. We could use a few more legislators in Springfield. So what about that? Madigan contemplating excommunicating you. How do you respond?
See, that's a part of the problem. I'm a registered Democrat who happens to be able to think independently of anyone, irrespective of their political stripe. Again, I'm 13 plus years into this. I've seen it all. I've seen enough. People across the state, in my district, around the Rush Street area, the Division Street bars, as well as the South Shore, Bronzeville community, from the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast, they want to see solutions.
Well,
they're not interested.
Yeah, but
they're not interested in anything else but that.
Well, right, and so with supermajorities in the General Assembly of Democrats, and with, as you say, Madigan being the speaker since the state was incorporated in the early 1800s, and John Cullerton being there almost as long. I mean, at some point, particularly your colleagues in the Black Caucus and minority voters, African-American, Latino voters in the city of Chicago in the ward, as you say, from the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast, the district from the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast, as you say, that you represent. Is it time for them to consider stopping support for not only Madigan, but maybe for some of their own representatives who aren't willing to do what you're doing, which is stand up to them?
That ultimately is going to be the deciding choice of the voters. Here's why members are sort of lulled into asleep. Because the Democratic Party of Illinois, they make things so comfortable for you. They coddle you in such a way that you don't have to think, you don't have to do anything, because we're going to take care of your reelection effort. We're going to stave off any challenges. When you're not forced to fight, you tend to get lax. You tend to neglect the citizens who sent you down there and negate some of the very issues that you stated that you were going to fight for. So with Mike Madigan being here for 45 years, he's created a system that really speaks to power that is unprecedented probably across the country. And, I mean, look at the red light camera. You just peel through that situation and see who the players were in that. That speaks volumes.
Are you in the speaker's office right now?
Yeah. I'm next door.
Okay, but you spent the night there last night. How was it?
Well, we're in session right now, literally as we speak. Mm-hmm. And so, tonight's going to be the night. I'm going to ask my members to spend the night on the House floor.
Oh, to have a sleepover. Okay.
Oh, wow. All right. We'll send some canned goods. Right.
No, we need something that's a little fresher than the canned goods.
How about
If you
s'mores?
send canned goods, then a can opener.
Okay, yeah, of course,
right.
yes. Well, yeah, I know. Well, obviously, members of the General Assembly can't fend for themselves. They can't survive in the wild. We know that. You've got your house cats. I get it. You got to be fed.
Right.
So, Representative Duncan, though, now one of the issues, and this has been pointed out by Democrats, is you're facing a primary challenge, and you're getting independent expenditure support from a super PAC run by a Democrat, but somebody that's received funding from some Rauner allies. So are you just pretending to be an independent thinker because you've got a primary and you're being supported by allies of Rauner's, or how do you respond to that charge?
I had the choice to do whatever Madigan wanted to have me do back in September, back in October, and November. I chose to put people before politics. Remember, all I had to do was vote like Madigan wanted me to vote. Do what he told me to do. I took the choice to say, listen, Governor, release this money, this $2 billion for our disabled community, for our child care assistance program, and our seniors who are homebound and who are living in nursing homes. I chose those three categories over the party. When the governor kept his word and released that over $2 billion, I said, I'm sticking with the people. And for some reason, that was so offensive to the Democratic Party and Mike Madigan that, I guess I'm supposed to be ostracized.
Well,
let me say this.
Well, you kicked the hornet's nest.
Well, and he destroyed the narrative of Mike Madigan.
Exactly. Right. He's overrated in a lot of categories. On the other, if members realize that it's okay to think, to fight, and to come up with new ideas. And by the way, most of us take money from any and everybody. We don't care if it's tobacco, liquor money, if it is from grandmother or the guy on the street corner. If we're having a fundraiser, we want support. So there's, whether my money, Rauner's name, I guess shouldn't be a bad word compared to Mike Madigan's name or Culleton's name or anyone else. Tomato. We're in the same political situation down here. Mike Madigan hosted a fundraiser for Dennis Hastert. For John Boehner a few years ago.
Yeah, and actually he tried to get $500,000 in state funds to build a statue to Denny Hastert, for that matter.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So again, the partisan politics piece is really for the amateurs. The real deal for the elected official, I don't care what your stripe is, do right by the people in this state. If you know we're falling off a fiscal cliff, let's come up with solutions together.
Well,
if you know we need to improve our public education across the state, do the right thing. That's all I've asked.
Speaking of public education, particularly in Chicago, if I'm recalling correctly, you were a yes vote for James Meeks' school choice bill back a few years ago. And so I wonder how you react to what's going on at CPS, the prospect of bankruptcy. They tried to do an $875 million bond issue. They had to postpone it because, they're junk rated and the bond market basically spit it back out. What should be done about CPS in addition or something on the order of what the governor has proposed or something else?
I believe that every new incoming governor should have a honeymoon period to see what it is that the majority of the people who elected this person can do. So we can give on some things such as school funding reform, pension reform. We know we have to address that. I don't have a problem with it. And part of the challenge is we have been sitting still at the same pace, at the same rate, waiting on our leader, our so-called leader, Mike Madigan, to do X, Y, Z and to tell us all the great ideas with very little or limited input, and we're at the same level. Imagine you have, Chase and Citigroup rejecting the ability to buy our bonds. They said, no, we want to get out the deal because if the bonds fail, our junk bond status, we're on the hook for all of this debt. That is unprecedented, unheard of in our city, in our state's history. So that speaks to a structural change that has to occur. But members don't want to have that because the unions control most of the actions down here. And the speaker conveniently uses them when he wants to attack opponents for just an idea different. You know, you say apple, I say banana. I mean, it's that parochial. He feels as if this is his state and his money, and he's the smartest man in the room all the time.
He is State Representative Ken Duncan, Democrat from Illinois' 5th District. A Democrat for now, but my offer to come over to the Republican Party stands, so you think about that. State Representative Ken Duncan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
He joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Tonight at 8, the Republican candidates debate the issues. Tomorrow morning, you debate which candidate won with Dan and Amy starting at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, a couple of afternoon snow showers, a high of 39 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim.
Clock on the Eisenhower, Amy. An hour and 26 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. An hour and 10 minutes from Manheim. Outbound just 35 minutes to Thorndale. The Edens is 23 minutes. Lake Cote to Montrose. Outbound 19. The Kennedy, 48 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 32. Stevenson, an hour. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's cleared up. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Still slow on the northbound tri-state from Cicero to the Hinsdale Oasis. Veterans Memorial still stop and go. From Army Trail southbound of Roosevelt, northbound Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
America has a serious narcotics problem. 90% of the world's narcotics are taken by Americans. They have a place, but when you're dealing with chronic pain, pain that doesn't go away or which frequently returns, there is a better way. You're masking the pain. We help you find and deal with the source of the chronic pain to get real relief. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in pain. Our team are national leaders and we're educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. Contact us. We will help you. You don't have to live with chronic pain. We treat all pain. We don't mask it with painkillers and narcotics that are not good for you and which can be addictive. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 97, that's the percentage of Chicago Teachers Union members who voted yes in a recent mock vote. Yes, they voted. They are prepared to go out on strike for the second time in 4 years. The annual average CPS teacher salary is just under $80,000, and that's before you include their health insurance benefits and guaranteed seven-figure pensions. The bankrupt, junk-rated Chicago Public Schools spend more than $15,000 annually per pupil, and yet 75% of 4th and 8th graders are neither proficient in reading nor math. This in a system of nearly 400,000 students. So who's the bad guy here? Is it the teachers union or the mayor's office? Yes, there are no white hats in the story of central planners from City Hall fighting with the central planners from the teachers union over who gets to be the lead central planner at CPS. If the teachers strike, they deserve to be unlocked from their jobs. CPS students deserve access to schools that will give them the opportunity to earn an education that sets them on a course for success in life. The only way that happens is if the adults inside CPS, the parents, and the adults outside CPS, state political leaders, change the flow of money away from central planners and to families so that they may make the same choices for their children that Tiny Dancer did for his kids matriculating at the University of Chicago Lab School. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Welcome to Staples. As Staples guy, my office goes through ink like it's water. Well, we have the ink you need, and with our 110% price match guarantee, Staples always has low prices. So we could go through ink like water. We could bathe in the stuff. That'd just be weird.
Staples. Make more happen. Now get a $15 coupon when you spend $75 on ink or $20 when you spend $200 on toner.
Offer valid on in-store purchases only. Ends 1/30/16. Price match plus the 10% difference discount valid at checkout for items from retailers operating online and retail stores or products sold and shipped by Amazon. Ends 3/26/16. See storestaples.com for details.
Raj Shah from Secure Retirement Radio talks about one of the main concerns you have about your investments.
So I want to know what else is out there. I want to make sure that I have taken advantage of every strategy that's available that would make sense for my portfolio. May or may not make sense, but if it does, I want to be aware of it. So Raj, can you tell me more about that?
To find out more ways to protect and move your money forward, tune in to Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah. Sundays at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, I want to show you some photographs of some jewelry handcrafted by a stay-at-home mom in Longview, Texas. Take a look. She's pretty talented. And And she has 2 kids, and she's still breastfeeding them, and she talks about that special bond between mom and child.
You're up all night sometimes, but it's so beautiful. It's just a peaceful time with just you and your baby.
So her name, Boudreaux, she didn't want to lose that bond with her children as they grew up. So what she did was right in front of her. She created breast milk jewelry for herself.
Sure. Sitting on a gold mine there.
Oh, no, she really is. So it's pretty easy to make. You just take the breast milk, you add preservatives, let it sit in the refrigerator, and then within a week, the milk becomes a solid, and you can mold it into any shape you want. And those are the choices that she made. And this stuff is selling like hotcakes.
I really wanted a special way to commemorate that bond between mother and child, and I just wanted a wearable piece of art, and I created breast milk jewelry.
So
Feeling a little lightheaded.
She has a Facebook page, and she's getting orders from as far away as Indonesia, Canada, Britain, France, and people are even sending parts of the umbilical cord, and she puts that inside the breast milk and makes a nice little ring for people. Oh, wait, but there's more. She can also do placentas.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday you got to talk or discuss about
Not exactly
the male
Jane Seymour
anatomy. Now we're talking about the female anatomy. But no, honestly, she's filled thousands of orders, and her pages, the orders are coming in more and more every day because people love this. It's a way of staying in touch with the time that you were a mother and nurturing.
And I thought Angelina Jolie wearing her brother's blood around her neck was disgusting.
By the way, you call those cheap implants boobs? Those aren't boobs. They're lies.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. Now, 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. You need to call Saul Z and the Z team based right here in Chicagoland. Now, Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Now, Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
Winter weather is here, and this season's roller coaster ride and temperatures can be especially taxing on your business's mechanical HVAC system. That's why it's important to schedule a comprehensive review of your system today with Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has maintained hundreds of businesses' HVAC systems throughout Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Why do they trust their mechanical systems to Air Comfort? It's simple. Because they understand that Air Comfort has the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as an MSCA Star Contractor, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a large service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900, or online at aircomfort.com.
A reminder that we're the only radio station in town that's carrying the debate tonight, so make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock or listen on your smartphone by downloading the AM 560 mobile app. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to download that app. We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's go into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Bruce Rauner speaks and sticks to his agenda in the State of the State address, and the FTC accuses DeVry of deceit. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. No doubt that means more airtime for the other 7 Republicans who'll be in prime time 4 days before the Iowa caucuses.
All I can do and what I'm going to continue to do is tell people who I am, why I'm running, and what I'll do.
That's Marco Rubio, who's been climbing in some polls. Rand Paul will tell voters,
my candidacy is unique, that I'm the only fiscal conservative.